welcome to Warcraft Reloaded, a podcast that's kind of like a box of chocolates, brought to you by Mash Those Buttons, covering World of Warcraft Classic, TBC Classic, and now Wrath Classic. I am Bobby, also known as Blazing Bob, and we are joined, as always, by Mel, aka Melarina. How you doing?
Hey, I'm good.
Doing good? Doing good?
Yeah. I slept all day.
All day. Literally, she just got up. I mean, you were up.
Long week.
You were up here and there to eat and stuff, but then you went back to bed.
Is the only reason I woke up was because I was hungry.
It was
that struggle between being hungry and tired, right? Yeah.
Yep. And then you eat, and then you're tired again. It's great. It's great. We're also joined once again by Jhaman the Shaman. How you doing?
Hi, Jhaman the Shaman. I haven't played Shaman since Classic now. I've been playing a Paladin since TBC and Wrath. But
it doesn't roll off the tongue the same, though.
It doesn't roll. Yeah, Jhaman the Paladin's not quite the same. I do have it. It's always, all my chat's always, Jhaman, not the Shaman. It's Jhaman, not the Shaman now.
Jhaman the Palman.
You can just change it to Jhamadin the Paladin.
Jaladin the Paladin. Yeah.
There you go.
Awesome. And for the first time on the show, you might have heard him on many episodes of the awesome podcast Countdown to Classic. We have Mike, aka Bawlsosteel. How you doing?
I'm doing very well. I am, excited to finally be on the podcast. I talk with Bob quite a bit, but he hasn't invited me on yet until now. So,
well, I mean, we had to get you on. And I listen to you a lot on Josh's podcast, and I have a good time listening to you. So, you were in my chat, and I was like, "Hey, why don't we have you on the podcast?" I don't know why I haven't. Sometimes I just don't think about it. It's just like. Getting the guests is the hardest part of the show and scheduling and everything. And oftentimes people will just ask to come on the show, back on the show. And I'm like, yeah, next week, done. Now I don't have to schedule somebody new, so it works out. But yeah, happy to have you. And the show today, we're going to talk about the news. We're going to talk about, what we've been doing in WoW lately. We didn't have any new voicemails, but we did get a couple emails. We're going to go over those. And then we're going to, at the end, we're going to get to know Bawlsosteel. He doesn't make content, but he has a pretty interesting story for his original career in WoW. So it'll be fun to hear that. So that's going to be the show today. I want to remind everybody we stream live on Twitch, twitch.tv/BlazingBob. I want to thank our tank patrons and Thick Lizzie. We've had a few new patrons sign up. We appreciate you so much. So keep that coming. But if anybody else wants to have their name read on the show, the tank option is there. We did not have any new voicemails, which is a bummer because those have been really fun as of late. I want to remind everybody the number to call in for that is 816-866-1066. Now, if you really want to leave a voice something, and you're overseas across the pond, or you're in Canada, or you're in Brazil, or whatever, it's fine to just download the free program Audacity, record a MP3 and send it to us to wcrpodcast@gmail.com. And we'll treat that just as a voicemail because it's fun to hear you guys say it in your own words. So feel free to do that if you're not in the States.
On your phone. Most people can record on their phone.
Oh.
Big true.
No need to download another application. Just push the voice record app on your phone.
Wait, are you telling me that there's a voice recording on my phone?
There's a microphone in there?
Yeah,
gosh.
I know. I thought you could only text, but
the world's getting so crazy.
They put everything in telephones these days.
Yeah, your smartphone is basically just a tiny computer.
Yeah, it's weird.
Oh, also, you guys have been killing it, and thank you so much. But want to remind everybody, Rested XP, we are now sponsored, And we'll have the link in the show notes, but use code RELOADED at checkout for 5% off and to support the podcast. And thank you for the support you've given so far. Oh my gosh, guys. Thank you so much. All right. So we didn't really have a new review, but someone wrote in because they left a 5-star on Spotify, but Spotify doesn't allow you to leave actual reviews still, which is just weird, Spotify. Could you get on top of that? But Mel, would you like to read this review via email?
Sure. It's from Jesse. Just wanted to take a minute and say that I gave you guys 5 stars on Spotify and wanted to leave a review, but that's not a thing. I'm a full-time firefighter, mow lawns on the off days, and I'm also in the Army Reserve, so I don't have any time to game anymore. I get my fix of WoW from listening to your guys' show and from watching streams. I especially like the part of the show where you guys talk about what you were doing in the game in the last week. It reminds me of geeking out with Army buddies at work when I started playing back in 2007. Thank you, Mel and Bob, or Bob and Mel, but I did the first one was right. So good job. I love the show and your guys' personalities. I also really miss hearing you piss off Yips, so bring him back. Thanks, guys. Jesse, aka Salty Pog.
Dude, I
miss pissing off Yip too.
I miss it so much because, like sometimes I would just say things that I knew would just make him mad, and you just see like his face get and he's just ready, he's just waiting for me to stop so he could just like rip into me, and it was so fun. It was so much fun. I miss it too. But guys, Yip is going to be coming back for a section of the pod called Raid Progression. I need to make the bumper, but he is bringing his famous section back. He's not coming back to the pod, but he's coming back to do a segment for the pod. And it's going to be great because we missed that part of it. We stopped doing it because we just weren't as good at it as him. And there was...
Stopped doing it because we stopped progressing.
Yeah,
like,
but
there was no new...
Even when we were, it wasn't as good as when he did it. It just wasn't. It wasn't even close. It was bad, quite frankly. So he's going to be coming back for that. We are super excited. So I hope you're excited too. We also had an email. Mel, do you want to hit that email?
Man, you put these in here so tiny. Yeah, I got it. Okay. Hey, Mel and Bob. Been listening to the podcast for about a year now, and having a job where I can listen to podcasts all day means I look forward to the once a week drop from you guys. I'm strictly a hardcore player now and have been for about 6 months. Gave up on Wrath as it feels you get given everything so easily and have gone back to Classic era and Season of Mastery for more of a challenge. Listening to your podcast, I can hear the happiness and delight every time Bob reminisces about his time in hardcore while chatting to all the different guests, and I was wondering if Blizz were to do a dedicated hardcore server for the next Season of Mastery, would either of you consider coming back? You sound like you loved it, and I don't know whether you know or not, but there's still a thriving hardcore community spread across all states of the game. Keep up the good work. You are both a delight to listen to. Brewsta, Obsidian Edge, Maladath.
I think the answer is quite frankly, fuck yeah. Like we would definitely go back if they had like a straight up hardcore server. I think and there still is a bunch of people. Apricot still does the hardcore stuff. I check out Namnan pretty much every morning before I am stream and kind of hang out with him before I start. He's kind of like my coffee time. So I mean, of course we would go back to it. It's just I don't agree with you about Wrath being everything given to you. Like I'm trying to 100%, and it's a lot. It's a lot of stuff to do, and I'm having a ball doing combat and doing Prot Warrior and doing all kinds of fun stuff. So, yeah, I don't know, Jhaman. You're for sure going to go back to hardcore at some point, right?
Yeah, for sure. We talking about. I've still had people whispering to me about getting the like twink rating we used to do.
God, those are so cool. Noob Core.
Yeah, we want to do that. If for people who don't know, we'd go into dungeons at the lowest possible level we could. So like RFC at level 8. I think we did Dead Mines at level 12. But depending on the version, and try to bring a bunch of hardcore players that are twinked out by solo self-found stuff. And it was really fun. It's just like pushing the envelope of the game and trying to find out like how much stamina can I get on a character to be able to, actually effectively do this content, right. But it's solo self-found, so anybody can do it. I think that's really what was so great about it, is that anybody can do it. Even it's just time commitment, but it's not like I have like, you see the people who hit like world first level 80. They have like 30 people like hanging out around them, right. Or whatever. Yeah. And you're like, oh, cool. Like it kind of ruins the whole point about, okay. But then you're like, okay, I want to see the guy who hit 80 first, but he only used these, and these rules. And therefore, and then it gets like all broken up and it kind of ruins it. But for sure, the hardcore stuff, I'd absolutely play it again. It's funny to look at it. I look at my friends playing, and in Wrath, I'm like, man, I should play an alt. Why don't I have any alts? Oh, I deleted all of them. That's why. I deleted all my alts. I'm looking at all my friends. They got like level 60s, level 70s. They like at different various ranges of characters in their character sheets. And I'm like, oh man, he plays this game a lot. How does he have so many characters at high levels? I'm like, oh, I play this game a lot. I just delete all my characters. Yep. So yeah, it's been. I want to play it again, but I'm like, man, I want to play an alt. I mean, it's Wrath right now, right? I want to play Wrath. I want to play Wrath the Lich King.
Yeah, Wrath is. I love Wrath. Well, and anybody who is curious about Noob Core, Jhaman talked about it a ton in episode 83 of Warcraft Reloaded. So you can still go back and check that out if you're if you're interested.
Yeah, it's been fun. There's a lot of great people that want to. I keep getting messages from people like, when are we going to go again? Are we going to do it in Wrath? Are we doing it in Wrath? And I'm like, all right, hold off. I'm doing my dailies. Let me.
Right.
Hold on.
There's so much to do.
Just need to get Sons of Hodor exalted, right? Mel, what about you? You think you go back to hardcore if they actually have a hardcore server and it's got like, you like literally don't have a choice. Like you just die and you're dead.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know. Like the last time we played hardcore, it was in a really, there wasn't a lot going on, right? And so I definitely think I would go back. I don't know if I'd be able to go back as hardcore as I was the first time, right? Because there's so much to do in Wrath, right? Like ideally they'd come out with a hardcore server when Wrath was kind of like in a lull, like
during TOC. Really,
yeah.
Would be a good time.
Like, that would be great. Right? Like,
yeah, Trial of the Crusader would be a fan, especially if we could only do one of like 125 and 110 man. It'd be a perfect time to go.
Yeah, I loved hardcore. It was so much fun.
Mike, did you ever play hardcore?
No, I've never played hardcore. I just could never. I never really saw the appeal of it, of just losing all that invested time if you die. I have plenty of friends who play hardcore. I totally get it. I have nothing against it, but personally, it's just not my jam.
I didn't think.
I don't think. Yeah, that's the thing.
I was like, that sounds really stupid. Why would I do that?
You don't get it till you do it.
And then it's like your life means so much more to you, right? Like you have this like different sense when you're going and pulling mobs, and like you're just like you're stressed, and you
get a green drop that you could use. You're like, oh shit! Like I mean, it's
find out that there's like wand vendors.
Whole new world.
Like, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
like, there's wand vendors, not just the auction house. Oh,
yeah. I talked smack on it the entire time. Like I had Duranosaur Winky on telling me how great it was. And I finally tried it because of Road to Rag. And man, it just sucked me in. Like my guild was actually asking me, Bob, are you quitting TBC? And I was like, no, I'll be there for raid. I
love the whole Road to Rag thing. When I was watching the actual raid for when the hardcore community finally got down Ragnaros, I was like, hell yeah.
Oh my gosh, that was so long.
It was so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was nuts. That was really actually saved the start of Season of Mastery. Season of Mastery kind of died off after that, so.
Yeah. It's crazy to think about Season of Mastery and like how the starting zones were just like, the first day of a new fresh server, you're like, oh, the starting zone's packed. It was like 2-3 weeks. The starting zones were packed because everyone kept dying and deleting their characters and making new ones.
Yep.
And like you were like, I can't go back to the starting zone because everybody is doing the quest still. Everybody's tagging the mobs. They're trying to get that frost troll book and they're trying to get, I can't be in that gnome area with 12 other people waiting to tag one mob. Like, I can't die. Please don't let me die because I do not want to go back there trying to kill leper gnomes in Dunmoreau and like can't find them.
Yeah, and it's so crazy how you're just like going again. Like, I mean, you just die. Like, I chose a rogue for my solo and thought like, oh, this is gonna be easy. Forgot that, like, okay, dude, if you don't have your cooldowns, like, you are nothing. And
paper, yeah.
I played a druid for my, like, I completed the challenge twice. One as a duo druid priest, and then one as a solo rogue. Well, the rogue, I died a few times, but then did complete the challenge. But I played a druid and it pissed me off, man. It pissed me off that like I could do so much damage, didn't have to worry about missing constantly, like with, dual wielding. And I was just like, this is bunk, dude. This is like, it's like everybody talks smack on rogue. Rogue is hard to do hardcore. Especially if you're impatient.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry. Was vanishing difficult for you? Was stealthing around, just not having to go through mobs, really
stealthing is a double-edged sword because you stealth into a cave and then all of a sudden you have to use vanish and then you have a choice there. I could either take a chance or I could just log out for 5 minutes and then come back when vanish is back
have
up.
That choice.
Yeah.
People that don't have vanish. See, we don't have that choice.
You're talking about the priest, the easiest character in hardcore that there is.
Oh, no.
Dude, priests live through everything.
Might be easy to play, but what a slog, man. That is like playing a diesel engine.
It's slow.
I thought the pet classes were the easiest in hardcore.
Definitely. Warlock or like Lock's hard till like 20s, but 20s you're just like smooth sailing. And then Hunter, I think everybody thinks is easy. Yeah.
Just getting bored because you're like, I could pull 6 mobs right now and be fine, but I might die. So I should just pull one mob at a time.
Just sit there and wand.
Snooze fest. Yeah.
That's all you do as a priest. Bubble and wand.
Same.
Yeah, but priests can survive.
Warrior to be the most fun hardcore just because you're engaged the whole time and you're not like, I don't know, you're playing the class the way it's meant to be played, not like warlocks have soul stones, so they're meant to like oops, like they have this like oops button built into their class. But like
the first time I trained resurrect and I was like, damn it. Because gold is like a big thing too, right?
Yeah.
Like you can't get gold very easily. And like I trained resurrect and I was like, well, that was worthless.
Completely worthless.
30 silver. Damn it.
We could res the softcore player by going by and help him out. Be like,
right.
You're welcome.
I got you.
Yeah, because they hated us. The non-hardcore people, like when they wanted to get a quest mob and you'd be like, sorry, hardcore, they'd be like, I hate you. Like, I mean, they hated us.
I always did priest in a duo though, so it was more fun, right? Like I didn't have to do solo
that's true.
priest.
Yeah.
So I did get to heal and whatnot. It's fun.
Oh, all right. Well, what has everybody been doing in WoW lately? Who wants to go first? I've been doing so much, but I'll go
I can go
last.
because it's short.
All right, Mel, go first.
I had to go out of town for work, but I went out of town on Wednesday so that I could raid on Tuesday. So we did the raids on Tuesday, and before that, Bob and I had been working on doing our Sons of Odier dailies. And by the way, I don't think we said this last podcast, but Reset XP, there's this, you can turn on gold assistant mode and you don't have to have the gold assistant part of the app, right? You can turn it on gold assistant mode, and then go to dailies, and it'll give you a path to unlock the dailies, and then it'll give you the daily route, right? We might have talked about that last week, but it is epic. It's so nice, and it's so
Nice.
easy to follow. And so we do that.
I think we did talk about it, but yeah, I did them on my rogue without knowing that. Even though Tactics had told me about it at TwitchCon, I forgot and was just like trying to unlock the Sons of Hodir ones, and Questie's not updated properly on it. So I was like struggling for like an hour, and then Mel gets on. She's like, "Oh, we could just use the rested XP thing, like Tactics told us." And I was like, "What?" We did the opening for him in like 20 minutes, and I was like,
He's so mad. He'd been working on him all day on his other character.
well, an hour, not all day, but like still though, it was a big save of time. It was just like crazy.
Yeah, no. And then other than that, we've been farming quests. We turned Rest XP to the Lore Master mode. And so we've just been going through and trying to do all the quests in all the different zones. Which has been a lot of fun. And to make a lot of money. Like,
Make a lot of money.
So much money right now. I don't even know what to do with it. I mean, I just buy things, you know. It's not bad. I'm not used to having a lot of money unless I steal it from Bob. But I have a lot of money right now, and it's really exciting. And then I've been trying to work on my enchanting and tailoring, but I like really struggle to like buy things for enchanting and tailoring just to get it up to max, because I don't need it at max right now. Like, it'd be nice. I made my flying carpet on tailoring, and that was like winning, you know. Like, now I have a flying carpet, so you know, what else do I really need? I made my spell weave, gloves and chest, I think, are the two that are pretty good for priest. And then enchanting's been kind of slow, but I have made a good amount of money on certain enchants that I can put on the auction house, and people buy them for crazy amounts.
Speaking of which, I bought you before realizing you didn't have the new rod. I bought you the 50 attack power to wrist. Like, I gave you the shards and bought it for you so I could enchant my rogue's wrists. But you didn't have the rod, and I wasn't going to buy you the rod with all your money. So I still need that enchant, by the way. I still have the mats in the bank ready for it.
You could have just bought the rod on my account.
Yeah, but no, you need to do the journey on your own. As long as I have it by Tuesday, I'll be good.
The grind, Mel.
Oh
You
my
must
God.
experience the grind.
No. Yeah. So I'm going to go, experience the grind of going to the auction house and purchasing the rod so that I can make it. It's like, there's no journey here. It's literally just purchasing it off the auction house and then combining it with something I probably already have. Oh man. But then I went out of town to Austin, and I was like, yeah, I'll bring the laptop. I'll probably, we can do our dailies and stuff. And no, I ended up moving one of our clinics to the other clinic, and I was there all night, one night, and changed my flight so I could stay longer and do that. So I didn't get back until last night. And then last night I got back, and I don't know, I'm old, right? So like now moving is like a whole different level of like pain. And I like moved by myself, right? Like I had a couple people that helped me like unload it once. But other than that, like pretty much everything was on my own. And I've got bruises literally all over my body. Like I don't even know how it happened, but they're there. So I got back, and Bob's like, hey Mel, you want to do the dailies? I was like, absolutely not. I don't want to move off of this couch, which is why I slept all day today. He was like, hey, you want to go hang out with my cousin? And I was like, nope. I don't want to move. So you're lucky I'm here, guys. I got up.
Well, you've been doing a ton of heroics and stuff too.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Before I went out of town, we did a lot of heroics, and we did Tin Mans too, right? Last week.
Mm-hmm.
So not this week.
Well, no, I did 10 Mans Thursday this week, but you couldn't make it because you were working until like 10 p.m. at your at your center. Which,
by the way, is super creepy, right? Like, so it's in like a commercial complex, right? And I'm there, and I'm like the only person there. at 10 p.m. And I just like look out and there's like no other cars there. There's just a U-Haul van, which is like super sketchy, right? Like I got a business at 10 p.m. Somebody loading a U-Haul van. Like, come on, somebody thinks you're robbing the place. And then, yeah, so then I left and I was like, okay, I'll just come back tomorrow. And then I changed my flight so I would leave later in the day. So I called the U-Haul place at like 7 a.m. and I was like, hey, can I keep the van for, another 4 or 5 hours today? My flight switched. And they're like, no, we have somebody that's rented it. You have to bring it back. And I was like, oh, that's annoying. So I was like, okay, fine. So I take it back a couple hours late. And then I went inside and I was like, hey, do you guys have like a truck that I can rent or something? And they were like, yeah, do you want a truck or a van? And I was like, are you kidding me? I was like, I'll take a van. And they're like, okay, well, we'll pull it around for you. And I was like, what just happened? Like, I just called to ask you if I could keep my van and you're going to bring around the same van and give it back to me? Like, I was so mad. I was so angry.
That sounds pretty frustrating.
Sounds like the journey that you had to go through.
It was. I went through the journey.
To get the rod.
And I did not murder anybody, which I feel like is a success,
It was like a real life quest, like when me and Crix were at TwitchCon, we sent Labasco and Mel back to the hotel. And me and Crix were, Crix was like live streaming with his like phone and his little selfie stick. We're like, we're gonna take scooters. We're gonna rent these scooters and we're gonna make it back. And I, of course, plugged in the wrong address. So
Moscow and I got there 20 minutes before them.
Crix and I are like flying all over the place, like on stream on the freaking scooters in freaking downtown San Diego. And then I'm finally like, hey, dude, I put in the wrong address. Crix is like, shit. All right. I'm gonna. Okay, it's up there. And like, it was hilarious. His chat was like, dude, you guys are like real life questing. You're going to the wrong spots and everything. We had so much fun. Questy. We had so much fun though.
Oh my God. Imagine just IRL questy.
Oh my God.
Hey man, that's not too far off with augmented reality glasses and stuff. Like there will be IRL questing very soon.
Yeah, I mean Pokemon Snap, basically, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But just imagine when we have the glasses that are like showing the stuff in your world. You see the item you need to grab. And you like.
What if we're already wearing the glasses?
See?
Damn it, Keanu.
Installed. Oh man.
Nobody told Bob. Shh, don't tell him.
All right. So what about you guys, Jhaman? Mike, who wants to go next?
Go right ahead, Jhaman.
Okay, sure. So this Wrath of the Lich King came out. I've been playing that game. Again, it came out again. I leveled a paladin up. I leveled from 71 to 72 as holy, and I was like, this is taking forever. So I went back and bought the brutal sword and then leveled as ret, and it was like so fast. It was just ridiculous how fast ret paladin was leveling.
Dude, should have done Prot.
Holy. Done Prot? You think Prot's even faster?
Oh yeah, dude. Prot's nuts. Like definitely.
Yeah.
Even without a heal, like as a warrior, it's great with a heal, but like Prot, like you can heal up yourself.
Oh, you're not a Prot warrior.
Well, no, I'm talking Prot warrior is awesome with a healer. Or I mean, you can do the revenge spec, and you can be fine by yourself, but it's still you don't have like Prot Pally has all the different things where you can build mana back up through a different pull, or build, like life back up through different things. Like there's just like they can pull so much.
Yeah, it's been really cool. I haven't done Prot at all yet as the paladin, but and then I did level a warrior during the pre-patch. On Skyfury, I leveled him. He's like 58 or something right now. I think I literally got to Outland, and I was like, cool, that was fun. And then I went back to my paladin.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
Prot,
paladins are crazy strong.
Prot warrior has got to be one of the most fun things to play right now. especially leveling, like anything. Just Prot Warrior, the way it is right now, is amazing. And that segues perfectly into why I'm playing a Holy Paladin. Is my twos partner is a Prot Warrior, and we are doing Prot Warrior Holy Paladin twos. He's Marco_wins on Twitch. Just shout out to him because he's so great and I love him, and I think he should always be plugged. And thank you for letting me plug him unasked. But
Oh yeah.
Plug anything you want, dude. That's what this show
Warrior,
is.
Yeah, he plays Prot Warrior PvP, and like he got Gladiator back in season 6 of original Wrath of Lich King as a Prot Warrior, and then he likes to say that he did it before Swifty did it, so like he got all excited about Prot Warrior, and then Swifty came out and talked about it like a couple months after he had already gotten Gladiator, and so we're having so much fun. We had 1750 this week as Prot Warrior Holy Paladin, and we just the fights, man. We have it's pretty normal for our fights to go for around 30 to 40 minutes for an arena match. It's obnoxious, I bet, but we just haven't hit the gear threshold yet where we can just kill someone like anytime we want to. Like,
just wait, dude. Ulduar,
yeah.
When Armor Pen comes out, like you're gonna see more gear, yeah. shock waves that half-life people. In ICC, you're gonna see shock waves that one-shot people.
Yeah, we're having a blast with Shield Slams. We're pretty good against Death Knights. I think we've lost like one time. I think in the last 20 fights against Death Knight Holy Paladin, we almost always win. It just takes forever because we have to the Holy Paladin, which is pretty difficult to do, but we can do it and they can't because they don't have MS. But it's been a blast, man. I'm having a blast with him. And like I said, we hit 1750. And then the other thing I'm doing is running a guild. Like we talked about it a little bit before. But I'm running a guild on Grobulous. We're recruiting. If anyone listening wants to join us from Grobulous, it's ICU is our guild, and we raid at 7 p.m. Server time, 10 p.m. Eastern, every Friday and Saturday. And
is it still balanced at all, Grobulous? I haven't looked.
Yeah, Grob's still 50-50 according to the website. I just
looked. Yeah, it's back to 50-50. It was getting scary at like a 60-40 at some point during launch, but it's back to 50-50.
Yeah.
Launch was hard
the Holy Grail of servers.
Because there was no raids, right? So launch was hard to see exactly how many people were playing, if they were PvPing or doing whatever, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still seeing BGs where I'm doing Horde versus Horde BGs, so it's not like I was expecting that to go away with the Alliance to be the a dominating faction with the PvP racials being way better on human. But I don't think a lot of people have re-rolled. I don't think it's been as crazy. I mean, I think a good number of people re-rolled, but I don't know if it's as crazy as we expect. I think a lot of people were just like, I just want to play my character I've been playing, and
the top end guys are gonna re-roll, but.
You'd have to be real sweaty to. Have they started allowing faction changes yet?
Not that I'm aware.
No, I don't think they have yet.
I feel like my twos partner would ask me to switch because he keeps going, what if I went without a... He's like, what if I went without a trinket? Then we could kill people. And I was like, yeah, but then you wouldn't have a trinket on. So we just need to be humans then. And he's like, oh yeah, if we were humans. I was like, oh my God.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Mike, what about you?
Oh God. So I mean, just for just full context, has ever been on the show. I re-rolled fresh on Skyfury, playing a mage. I duo leveled from 1 to 80 with Alenia. Shout out to Alenia11 on Twitch.
Hell yeah.
We did so we basically like the whole dungeon leveling meta sort of thing. We just bucked that trend. We said fuck that. We didn't want a dungeon grind at all. We did maybe 2 dungeons, 1 to 80. We did every single quest in every single zone in
my man. Same
going 70 to 80.
Same as us.
We went into Utgard Keep twice and we're like, yeah, no. Let's quest.
Yeah, I mean, we did some quests in dungeons, but just to do the quests, like just once,
Yeah, we did. Yeah, every single quest, we just took our time, enjoyed it, didn't rush to 80, didn't follow the meta, and it was the best because I did the dungeon grind in TBC And God, I was like, I'm never doing that again. It was awful,
Yeah.
awful,
It was
awful.
Same.
I remember watching the people do that and just being like, I'm getting tired. I'm getting tired watching these people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was horrible.
So yeah, we quested all the way to 80. I've just been focusing on my mage, mainly just PvE. You know, I just finished getting exalted with all the Northrend reps. You know, I do my dailies every day. Help guildies with heroics. And I've just been, you know, my mage is pretty geared already. Just a few weeks in.
Nice.
And I actually just went fire this week, bucking the trend of the meta already with my mage, and I actually did pretty well in raid. I have to say. I'd say I think I was like top 3 DPS every fight in raid, so I felt pretty good about that.
Sounds like you need to get
Nice.
some better rogues and locks. Looking at the overall DPS, that's going on.
So yeah, it's true. Well, so the one class that was usually beating me was our demo lock. So
Demo, I mean, it's according to the charts, it's Demo. Even combat rogues are beating the mages at the moment. But you guys will have the last laugh. But
yeah, fire mages rise up.
Yeah,
Oldwar, baby.
Oldwar fire mages is definitely going to pump, so don't sleep on that. But I just lost my train of thought. So, okay, so you're running your guild now, right? Like, is it you and Elenia? Or are you guys in a guild?
No. We're actually in an oceanic guild, so it's a weird thing for me. I live on the east coast of the US, so I'm waking up at 6 a.m. to raid on the weekends.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That sounds awful.
That sounds nuts. What's your ping there?
On Skyfury, it's just a West Coast server, so it's like 70.
Oh, so they're okay because Oceanic didn't get their own fresh server. Okay, so you're actually, that might be another reason why your parses are higher. You know, the other people are dealing with that lag.
Trying to deflate Mike's ego here.
I'm trying to make his demo locks and unholy DKs and rogues feel better is what I'm trying to do.
We actually don't have any unholy DKs.
They're like number 1 right now.
We're like a fairly average guild. We're not like crazy like sweat lords.
And on a fresh server, didn't you have to have an 80 to?
No, you just had to have 55.
Yeah, level 55 to unlock it.
Well, we're just our guild's a very very special. It's probably because we're an oceanic guild. We have like 3 mages. We only have 1 warlock, 3 mages, no unholy DKs. So our guild is definitely anti-meta in terms of comp.
I think our last run we had 4 locks.
Yeah.
We had 4 locks and 3 rogues, 2 assassination, 1 combat.
It's hardest to find shamans and priests and hunters now.
Yeah. We're so anti-meta. We have 6 shamans.
Wow, they all stayed. Damn. We were wondering why they all left after TBC, and they all just went to your guild. Okay.
Yeah, we have. Was it at one point we had almost 4 enhanced shamans and 2 elemental, but then one of them went resto.
And they're like, I don't have to drop totems because there's someone else. Oh, cool. I'm not gonna drop totems. They're like, which one of us has to drop totems? They're all like vying to not be the one.
Yeah.
Damn.
That's crazy.
Damn. Well, I've had an interesting, lucky run since getting back from TwitchCon. Like my first raid, which was the second raid lockout, because I missed the first because of Twitch. I talked about it last week. I got I'm running combat rogue because I wanted to go against the grain, and I just love combat, and I wanted to be practiced for when combat does take over you assassination rogues. I'm just letting you know. It's told Sarth it was going to happen, TwitchCon, And yeah, it's already happening pretty fast because we're the 6th best DPS across everything as of week, 2. So I did not think we would be that high that quick, but I got Calamity's Grasp. And then we did raid this last week, and this fist weapon dropped. Oh God, what is it called?
The trash offhand?
Contending? It's like 156 DPS. It's a 213 offhand. It's a 1.6 speed. So like I had heard that combat anything over 1.5 speed for the offhand was not good, right? So I just rolled minor upgrade, but nobody else rolled on it, so I got it. And thank God I got it, because I talked to Simon Eyes, and this is like me using privilege to just ask Simon Eyes questions instead of like going through the Discord and everything. But I asked him, I was like, hey, dude, I got this fist, and it appears it sims right under what's the dagger from the first boss in Nax, the first boss in Spider.
Web Death. I know he's some rogue loot.
So Web Death is supposed to be the Biss offhand, and then Librarian's Paper Cutter is supposed to be the second Biss. But the offhand fist that I got sims 150 DPS higher than Librarian's Paper Cutter and 10 DPS lower than Web Death, and all the other ones, Murder and everything else, all sim way lower than this offhand fist. And I don't see this offhand fist on any Biss lists, but it's freaking pumping. So like I just decided, okay, well, I got 2 assassination rogues in my guild who probably wouldn't mind running double Web Death. So I'm just gonna put Berserk on this offhand, and I'm just done with weapons for
That's awesome.
the first phase. So rogues sitting pretty. I got my gear score up to 4,150 on the rogue. I'm like sitting pretty and pushing some major deeps. I can't wait. I got a bunch of upgrades that I couldn't use during the last one, but I can't wait to see what I could do next Tuesday. And that's for the rogue. As for the Prot Warrior, I had an interesting week. I main tanked my first 25-man Nax. Luckily, Jack, aka Harskar, the leader, or now just the raid leader, not the guild leader. Yip's the guild leader of Varg now, but Harskar is the raid leader. He raid led the 25-man, and I did pretty good. Like I did okay. Like I only died twice early on, and then got my bearings, and like we pushed through pretty great with about a 25-man raid of half pugs, because we're trying to build a second raid where I'm going to be the main tank, and we're using like pug runs to kind of recruit alts and stuff to this completion raid. And it's also going to be alts from our guild that is going to run this raid. So we're trying to do that. That raid went great, but I main tanked a 10-man Nax and had to raid lead it. Now, I haven't raid led since Wrath Original. And although I've been a natural leader my entire life, so I used to enjoy leading a lot of stuff throughout when I was younger. Like I, led like I ran a 2 different fantasy football leagues. I ran a Madden league that had people from all over the place that played seasons of Madden. I've run a bunch of stuff. I ran my own guild back in Wrath, raid led. But as I've gotten older, I've realized that just because you're a natural leader doesn't specifically mean you're a good leader. Like, natural leader just means that people tend to follow you. Good leader means that you lead them well after they follow. And so, like, I did horrible. I was second guessing myself the entire time, asking the raid, well, here, do you guys want to do it like this? I got many comments from the people that were in the raid afterwards, like, hey, dude, you just need to say we're going to do it like this and then just do it. I was just like, yeah, but we had a lot of the pumpers from our guild in there because I think Yip wanted to like help me out and give me an easier time. So I like didn't want to like, I was just like, well, hey, I think we should do it like this. What do you guys think? And, you know, people were quiet. Like it was really awkward. I mean, we did fine. Like it was a little bit slow moving through it, but we did fine. But it was a definite experience for me that I was not ready for to lead and tank all at the same time, especially with the tank role being something so new to me. So yeah, that was my week, but everything went good. Like, but it was just, it was like leading a raid is scary because these people's time is in your hands and you have to just be able to like make the call because nobody else wants to. That's what I found out, like asking. Luckily, there was a guy in our guild, LZW. He's a big, huge braid mage, like gladiator across retail and classic, like just a really smart guy. Luckily, he helped me out a lot during it. He actually apologized after because he thought that he was like overstepping. I was like, dude, no, you saved my ass. Thank you. And I'll be better next time. But it was definitely a humbling and scary experience to have all these people's time in my hands. And yeah, it was weird. So Jhaman, if you're going to be leading, like that's the stress you're about to run into. And Mike knows all about it.
We've been running it. It's been fine. I think right now we're finding this growing pains. We're a 10-man guild. But we're still like pugging every week for just 10-mans. And now I'm getting whispers from people like, hey, I need to do 25s. But I don't want to, we should do them as a guild. And I'm like, okay, all right. So next week we're going to do a 25-man raid as a guild, but we're going to pug, over half of it probably. But we've got people I had like 18, 19 people signed up at the beginning of Wrath, Lich King that wanted to be part of the raids. I whispered all of them, contact you guys, you going to raid? You're going to, yep, raiding. Yes, we're here. Yep, we're good. And then we get to 80 and there's 7 people that made it and show up every week. And we're like, okay, well, and then recruiting and trade chat is like, I get whispers from people like, sounds great raid times. But I'm going to stay in my guild and I'll just join you guys. Is that cool if I just join you for raids and I stay in my guild? And I'm like, no. And so you can sit in trade chat and talk to people, it's fine. It's good. We're growing and it's good. I think as soon as we start doing these 25-man raids next week, we'll just pick up these pugs that are in the grade and be like, if I run it clean, we run a good guild, we run a good raids, people will join and we'll just have them come back next week and the next week and the following week. And that's what we'll do as our recruitment strategy. And
I mean, that's basically, that's basically what Harskar is like using our second raid for as a recruitment strategy, and like, and if these people are really good, they'll get into, possibly the competitive raid, which is built for like, doing achievements, speed, everything else, expected to be like a high parser type of deal. But yeah, I mean, I think that works. There's always the option. Like that's how my in Wrath, I was doing a 10-man guild, but it was comprised of like 15 real life friends. And then we met another guild that was really fun. And we would run 25-mans with them. And then we actually just ended up combining. And then I just ran that entire 25-man guild. So that's definitely a way to grow too.
That's like my experience with original Wrath was running in a 10-man guild. And then we had another guild that joined us and we had 2 10-man raids going. And I remember the drama behind it too was like, oh, well, raid team A is always taking all the good players, and raid team B is always getting screwed. We want to do the achievements too in Old War, and you guys already have all the achievements. You already got your proto drakes, and we haven't even finished the achievement. Can you send it? So we're like, then the guild leaders got to like, okay, we're gonna give you this DPS this week. We're gonna send you this guy, and like, there's one guy complaining in the other raid, and he doesn't have the achievements, and everyone else is like, we don't care, we're just chilling. And you're like, okay, we're gonna switch everything up and fix it so that guy gets his achievements. So okay, we got it. And then you have a 25-man raid, and then I think that's really was the downfall though in Cataclysm was the fact that 10-man raids were so difficult relative to how easy they are now. And so all those 10-man raiding guilds just gone because there's no reason to do 10-man raids when 25-mans were so much easier.
Dude, and what you're talking about is exactly how I felt when they split up our 10-man groups.
Yeah.
And they put the people in my group and said, all right, Bob, go lead the raid. I was like, lead the raid? I was going to take the raid. Okay. And then I could just feel the pumpers that were in the group that were like, why the fuck am I in Bob's group? Bob's a brand new tank. He hasn't tanked a 10-man besides Zolomon. Why am I in this group? I could.
Did anyone say that, Bob? Or are you
they
projecting
didn't say
on
it,
them,
but
Bob?
I'm projecting it, and I definitely felt like that was how some of them felt.
Nobody said it, Bob. Don't take it. That's unhealthy mental states. Okay, just take the win.
Seriously.
Exactly. Amen.
Get out of here.
Yeah, I don't know how people do it. One thing I do know that when I lead things in life, the more that I know, the more confident I am. So,
for sure.
Definitely going to be doing more research than I've been doing as a DPS. I'll be understanding more of the mechanics than I ever had to understand as a DPS. Because you really don't have to understand these types of things as a DPS. But as a tank, it can make or break a fight if you don't use the proper cooldowns at the right time. And our guild leader Horror Scar is amazing. Like, I used shield wall during one of our early fights in the 25-man. He's like, hey Bob, don't like, and he knew because I have like a weak aura that states to the raid whenever I use any of my big cooldowns. He's like, Bob, I'll call for shield wall if you need to use it. I was like, oh, why aren't you fucking awesome? Fuck. Like, like I'm just like sitting here going like, I just have to try to worry about what I need to do, like.
That's part of being a raid leader, just calling for the cooldowns.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I will say,
and Mike's
Instructor Vesuvius, I had to do the mind control for the first time. And I didn't even have to do the mind control in original vanilla, right? So I've never done it before. And the first week, I did it, and I didn't have the glyph. I didn't have the hit, right? It just kept breaking. I was like, I don't even know what I'm doing right now. And then the second week, I was like, okay, I got the glyph. And then I forgot to get the glyph to replace that glyph, but it's fine, whatever. But I had the glyph, and then it was working. It went a lot better, but there was still, a lot of, and it just feels bad to be like the person that's like effing it up for everybody else, right? Like. I'm like, I don't even know how I go practice this without everybody here, right? Like, but
true.
Yeah, I've felt the same sort of way in the opposite direction, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ, why can't these fucking priests get it? We're wiping on Vesuvius more than any other boss because like our entire raid is dependent on this one priest.
Yeah,
well, we only wipe twice, once each week. Okay, it's not like I'm doing this over and over.
The first week in my guild, we must have wiped like 8 times.
To be fair, though,
right?
To be fair, we lost all of our guys, and then our really savvy few guildmates taunted back and forth so we could kill him. Yeah, we ping-ponged him. So
that's not my fault that you guys killed all the guys, Like,
well, I mean, that's another
there's
thing.
Nobody left for me to mind control.
You can really get some high parses on, instructor if you're cleaving the mobs, and you shouldn't be cleaving the mobs. Hey, I didn't do it.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm the one that doesn't do that shit.
Flurry and it happens automatically. Okay, it's not my fault that I cleave automatically.
Seriously.
It's
The
dude, it's
truth comes
literally
out.
like I'm like one of the few locks in TBC that when the raid leader said, "All right, guys, single target," I was the only one you didn't hear that pop, 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 pop from, because I was actually listening and doing single target. But everybody else was like, "Nope, I'm just seeding."
It looks better. Purple bar go up.
Yeah.
But yeah, Mike's run a lot of raids. Like, how do you deal with the stress of it? Like, because it really stressed me out, and leading used to not stress me out because I was so much more confident. Now that I'm older, I understand how much of a fucking idiot that I am. So like, it's harder to be confident.
So for me, actually, I had never from the beginning of Vanilla Classic up until like phase 2 of TBC, I was raid leader for my guild the entire time. And when you're leading 240-man raids, most of the work for me was just logistics.
Yeah.
Right, like than actually leading the raid, because once I'm in the raid doing it, like I'm pretty like I know these raids back and like backwards forwards. I can make the calls pretty confidently for my raid. It was just managing 80 plus people. It was just
holy cow.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I'm
And
managing
also
7 people right now, and I'm like, oh my god.
and my we were such a big guild too. I think we had 16 officers. So at one point. So we were a guild of 500 plus people the entire time.
Wow. Yeah, you need that though for an 80-man raid. You need that much backup just in case someone calls out.
Yep.
And not just one person, but
yeah, with probably a roster of close to like 95, 100 people. So
yeah,
it was a lot. I have a lot of stories, but that's for another time.
yeah. I think Vanilla was crazy with the 40-man roster because like you didn't have to really look into. There wasn't a whole lot of personal, responsibility besides the tanks. Like I mean, healers would have to fight to get a heal. Like I think our 40-man raid, after we went through the yearbook and posted everybody who had ever parsed with the guild, I think our 40-man raid had like 180 people in it throughout the entirety of Classic Vanilla. Like it was just nuts. Wow. But now there's a lot more on you, specifically, especially in 10s too. So yeah, it was interesting. I'll get better at it, but boy, it was stressful to lead. Leading pugs would have been easier, but since I knew how good the guys were that were in, like, I mean, Yip gave me some pumpers, like I had some of the best pumpers in our guild in my 10-man, and I'm sitting here. Okay, guys, we're gonna do this. What do you think about this? It was.
You hit the nail on the head before, Bob. It's all about the confidence. Even if it's not the best plan in the moment, just being confident about your decisions, honestly, is just the best thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I mean, I played a tank in Overwatch.
Like,
Yeah, I mean, I played a tank in Overwatch as shot called. I called the wrong thing many times, but I told everybody, if you just follow me in the commands that I give at the time, we're going to have a better chance than if we argue about the right call to make during.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yep. 100%. And especially for me, when I was, just leading so many people, you especially have to have that confidence.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I think I
can't imagine that 40 people in a raid. They're definitely going to be, if you're not confident, people will be like, I think we should. And another guy, well, that's dumb. And you're like, oh, shut up. Be quiet.
Actually,
what I'm doing.
Yeah, actually, most of it ended up for me. It was just being on people's asses just to keep the raid moving. I'd be like, all right, come on, guys, let's keep moving.
Sorry, I'm taking a sip of my water here. Like,
yeah, I'm like, nope, next poll, let's go. Yep.
Yeah. Honestly, I maybe would have felt we have some chatters in the guild, and I almost wish that the chatters were in there to give me time to think. But I had the non-chatters, pumpers, ready to get shit done, guys, in the 10-man. So I was just like,
But
So-
yeah, it's good. 10-man's a good proving ground though. It's a pretty good crucible. It's not that difficult. It's not too hard. You can get through it, and
Mhm.
you can learn
I'd say, yeah.
the mechanics.
Yeah, I've been leading some 10-mans in my guild on the side, and it's a compared to vanilla TBC
Yeah.
raid leading, it's a fucking breeze.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But obviously that's coming from the guy that had to juggle 80 cats.
yeah.
Mm.
Holy cow! And I feel like Patchwork's the only one where I've seen. I haven't had it myself. We've done it every week. We've done Patchwork 25-man. It's pretty simple, but like I've seen other people in raids and streams on Twitch where like our one tank didn't have enough health. They're switching out their gear for armor. Maybe we get some more. This or trying out who's our worst tank. Who's the main tank? And then there's people arguing about who should be main tank, who should be off tank.
Yeah.
And
Luckily,
like,
the one thing I do well is research. So I had the complete, like I had 6% hit. I had 6.5 percent expertise. Like I had like my gear is min-maxed perfectly for if I have fairy fire. Like so, like I was set there with as much stamina. Like when we did the 25-man. I was able to main tank and able to keep aggro away from the DK. Some of the fights were a little tough, but as long as the boss is hitting me, I'm able to main tank easy as pie.
Yeah.
And able to keep aggro up. But if the boss is not hitting me, the warrior's a little dicey.
And then hearing all the people like, make everyone put your feet in the poison and then step a melee, keep yourselves at half health, and don't heal anyone.
Doesn't.
Like,
Just heads up, that doesn't work anymore. It's
right.
It's completely threat based now.
Yeah. That's what I mean though. Is there's so much like misinformation when you're running a raid, and there's so many people that have their own little thing. They go, this is how that mechanic works, and you're like, no, that's not how it works.
That was actually so that from what I remember, that was actually from private servers. So the way a lot of Wrath private servers have with Patchwork, it was his hatefuls were actually based on maximum health and threat.
Oh wow, okay.
Wasn't that the way it was in vanilla though, or no?
Yeah, that was the way it was in vanilla, definitely. But in Wrath, I guess it did change. But yeah, then like 10-man my Exida, like I just didn't know that I needed to like manage the paladin sacks and my shield wall for the web wraps. And so like I died on that one twice. Like
heard, yeah.
But for the most part, everything ran good.
Thing. I guess I'm leading the raid as a healer, so I'm like not even calling for him. I'm just throwing out hand of sack on that. Like, okay, he's about to web wrap's coming. I'm not even having to say anything because I'm doing it, and then saying, hey, pop a cooldown for this one. I guess I didn't realize I'm doing that already, but like that's interesting. I like raid leading as a healer though, because I definitely get like a whole sight of everything that's going on.
Get to see everything.
Yeah, actually, raid leading as a healer is like probably one of the best positions to raid lead as, because like everyone thinks of like the main tank or when raid leading because they're up in front, but like half the fucking time as a main tank in a raid, you're just staring at the boss's fucking face or like
at their crotch,
staring at their crotch. Actually, I literally remember the main tank for my raid in like throughout Classic, he's literally just like, I'm just a crotch starer. I just, I just sit there and just stare at the crotch of the boss.
Yep.
He's like trying to look around. What's happening behind? Are you getting hit by tail swipe? What? Why? Yeah. Why are you guys behind the boss right now?
No, he was a very good tank and understood positioning and all that. But literally, if he took any screenshots like during a fight, if for some reason, it's literally just him just like 90% of the screen, just the boss.
Yeah.
Yeah, and me being, new, this is the first time I've ever tanked. Ever.
That's awesome.
So, like I'm getting used to that and everything. And so it's been a lot, but I'll get better every week as I just, I keep researching, and that's what I do.
Yeah.
That's what puts me above others. It's the reason I'm able to do different 99 parses throughout all of Classic. And so I'll just keep doing that. And I think it'll get better. Well,
if you ever want a PvP as Prot, Just go talk to Marco
Yeah.
and he'll tell you about the exact stats to get right now. Because he was telling me, he's like, well, everyone's talking about armor pen, but we can't get armor pen yet. So what you have to do, and he's like talking about exactly what you need right now. Like, and he's like, this is the how much crit you need, how much block value, how much strength, and he's like, well,
This is
cool.
a-
That's awesome.
Crazy.
Yeah, this is a conversation I had with Simon. Is like armor pen is an awesome stat, but don't get it wrong. Like right now, it's not. It's an awesome stat. Once you get to a certain threshold, of other stats, then it starts to really become good. And so, so it's going to become good faster in Ulduar because of the. Like, I'm not sure. Did they say they're for sure going to do that buff, the 6 eye level buff?
They definitely talked about it, but they haven't.
They didn't technically confirm,
I don't
but
think they've said.
I feel like it's all but confirmed.
I feel like it is.
Right. Yeah. They were basically like, we're going to do this. And then I feel like there might have been a second comment that was like, well, I mean, we could change it still, like, because we're not like committed to this completely. Like but this is our plan right now. Like
They're just waiting to see if there was any like crazy blowback from it, right? Or they were like, well, it's not like our final decision, guys. But
I did worry about like classes that don't scale, like elemental shaman, like already being like Ulduar was like they were okay in, and then now they're going to be like, well, all right, with 6 more item levels, I'm even further behind already in the beginning of the expansion. Right. But whatever, it's just, I guess that's their life. They decided to be elemental shamans, and that's what they get.
Yeah. I mean,
you made choices. This is what it.
They could be enhanced and just be destroying stuff. Right now.
Hey, elemental's easy to play, and they bring good raid buffs.
Yeah, I love playing. That was what I was in original Wrath, was an Ellie Shaman. I loved it so much until we got to ICC, and I was like, why is my DPS so bad? Like this, like these like discipline priests are catching up to me. Like, what's going on right now?
That was so sad for them in like Sunwell. They'd like 99 parse, and they'd still be doing half the DPS as like somebody who 85 parsed as a freaking lock, you know, like it was so sad.
Yeah, that's what's gonna happen again. Yeah, I remember, and
it's gonna happen again.
It made me think, like, I was like, man, why didn't I enjoy, like, I think about Wrath of the Lich King and I think how much I loved Ulduar, and I was like, man, I loved Ulduar, such a great raid. ICC though, not so good, not a great raid, not so good. And I was like, why is my memory so tainted? Because everyone seems to like ICC, and I was like, oh, I was playing Elemental Shaman. That's what it was.
I'm with you. Actually, I actually don't like ICC that much. I think a lot of the boss. I'm like a mechanics nerd with a lot of raids. Yeah. I think a lot of the bosses in ICC are very mediocre. I think ICC is completely overrated.
I hated the boat fight, wherever that's the worst. I remember.
That's a scapegoat of the fight, but like, you know, Valithria Dreamwalker, Marogar, the 2 abomination ones.
That's right. They felt like trash.
Even Blood Queen Lanathel is just like such a gimmicky fight. The only fights that felt mechanically satisfying to me in ICC were Professor Putricide and the Lich King.
True. Yeah, I would agree. That sounds exactly right.
Did you think we had forgotten? Did you think we had forgiven? Sorry. Yeah. Well, all right. Yeah, that's what we've been doing. That was a long segment, but let's move into time for the news. All right, guys. Hallow's End has started. Have you guys been killing the Headless Horseman?
Oh, absolutely. Every day. Got to try to get those reins.
I did it once.
I haven't done it.
Once? I've done it every day. It's
what are you
nice
trying to get?
Well,
I've never cared about mounts.
Yeah, the mount. Oh. The mount that's a ground mount and a flying mount.
Yeah, I've never been a big mount collector. You know, it's always one of those things that I feel like retail got big into mount collecting, and everyone's like, Invincible, Ashes of Lar, it's really cool. Everyone, I'm like, I just want my character to blow things up. Like, I want my character to do cool stuff. I could care less when I'm riding in a battle. I ride the chicken, the Blood Elf chicken, the baseline. I love it, dude. It's great. It's a great mount. It's so much fun. I don't need anything better. It's good.
Right.
I would agree with you almost always with that, But for me, I love the rotor flame the horse rides on, and it's the fact that it's a ground mount and flying mount. So I can just have that for both. So it's a little more convenient.
One, and you don't have to worry about fixing your macro from TPC to red.
One mount to rule them all.
It took me forever to finally fix my macro. Like, it just annoyed me every time, right? And then finally I did it. But it still gives me the error message of like, you can't mount right now, even though it's mounting.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
To let everybody at home know what she's talking about. So everybody, like most people, have a macro that's like flyable, non-flyable, and you have your different mounts set for that. Well, if you add just a mount at the end of those two lines in your macro, just a regular ground mount, then when you're in Dalaran and it says you can't mount, you can't use that here because it sees it as a flyable zone, but it's not. So
can't catch your flyable mount.
You just add an extra ground mount to the bottom of your macro, and then your macro will work there. So that's what she's talking about. But I've been using the magic broom. I've been using that.
Oh yeah, the Chad broom user. I love using the magic broom, especially as a mage. It just like fulfills a nice little class fantasy for me.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
Well, and what's weird is that the magic broom, the little requires level 10 one, does not say it's gonna disappear in 14 days like the other two mounts say.
Yeah,
and everybody's telling me it's going to, but it doesn't go into your mounts tab. So like, I've just been using the hell out of it. Just like, okay, well, I'm going to use it as much as I can just in case it disappears, but it doesn't say it's going to disappear. And the other two do say they're going to disappear. Like the Swift magic broom definitely says 14 days. So
that could be a bug.
I still have in my inventory from the first trying to remember what it was, but it's I think it's the fall event. But you can get like slow fall beer from one of the in classic original, and it only lasts like, like duration. I still have one in my bag.
Well, I think it's like 14 days played or something.
Some of those are
0 days remaining. I have this beer that I can pop slow fall on anytime, and it just says it's supposed to be gone by now, and I'm like, I've played this character a lot. Like it should be gone, but it's never gonna. But I have instant slow fall anytime I want to, and I'm not going to submit a bug report or anything.
No, keeping that. No, just let that one go.
That sounds like the Scourge invasions on some servers.
Oh yeah,
that just kept going.
Yep, that just kept going. Like how Beef Bar just got to have the friggin' Scourge invasion buff for week 1,
which was crazy.
Good. Yeah, that's the guys who got the 10-man death knight, right? For the win. Or these dark.
No, that was progress. They had progress did that with the death with the unholy frenzy, which they just fixed.
No, he's talking about the buff you got from what was the buff? But it was a world buff that actually was bugged and able to be taken into Nax week 1. Sarth told me about it when we were at TwitchCon. It was like a buff you got when you killed one of the big guys at the Scourge.
Yep.
Crystals like that spawned to Tannerus and everything.
Wow.
Yeah, and so they didn't have it patched in correctly to remove that world buff when going into the raid, so a lot of people used it for the first clear of Nax.
Yep, it was literally the difference for world first, considering that Beef Bar beat progress by a minute.
Wow, holy cow!
Yep, but yeah, there's a lot of good stuff. The rings are actually like, I don't know about everybody else, but for the rogue, I think that ring is like the best 200 item level itemized ring with like 3 stats. Like it's really, really good.
It is. As a fire mage that needs 14% hit, that ring is mwah.
Nice.
Yeah, so those rings are definitely worth it. If you want to get the the purple proto drake for doing all the different the
long strange trip it's been.
Yeah, the different achievements for each thing. You need to do like quite a bit of these. The hardest one probably is the wand, but people are selling the wand uses like all over the place. So I have the ninja, which I guess is like the most rare one, which is cool. So
I've heard some people having trouble selling with layers. They're having trouble selling their wands because they invite someone to their lair, or they try to layer hop, and there's a layer hop cooldown still. Like obviously they still have that. So getting all your wands has been annoying for some people. Some people in my guild were complaining about it. That like they were trying to get a wand and they got invited, then they had to wait another 5 minutes before the layer finally kicked them over. They were having to go into Violet Hold to actually trade wands. They were all running into Violet Hold together.
You can also, I think a lot of people do it at the start of Winter Grasp too. So like you can find a lot of people selling it at Winter Grasp. So if you're looking to do that, you could also, just a reminder, Metagoblin made a video about it too, but you can use all of your alts, and you can go and grab the wands by trick or treating with your alts every hour. And then if you just alt F4 on your main character, then log in really quick on your alt F4 character will not, you have 30 seconds to use the wand on them before they log out. So that's a trick you could use if you don't have multiple accounts. So
that's awesome.
Heads up to everybody. But yeah, it's in and it's been pretty fun. The event, killing the Headless Horseman, is pretty dang easy.
Super easy. I've done it with a group of like 3 level 76 and level 77s. So you don't even have to be level 80.
From what I hear, you only have to be level 71 too. It's not 75 like we thought.
Can we 2-man it?
Yes, it's just really slow. I did it with Casimo 2-manning it. It's much nicer. It was actually, he switched his chamois from healing to DPS, and we actually had no problem with it at all with him as DPS. He just off-healed his DPS, and we were able to do it super, super easy. But
you actually miss out on the loot if you do 2-man it, because you get 5 attempts with your group. Each person has their own attempt on it, so then you get 5 attempts.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, it's just
unless you're really popular, like a Blazing Bob, and people will just give you attempts. So you just be like, "Hey guys, give me your attempts," and
Who
they'll
else
be like,
wants to come in?
Of course,
Yeah,
we'll give it to you. You want the mount? Of course, we'll get it to you.
I actually saw someone on my server there. They were paying some ludicrous amount of gold to just put me in your Headless Horseman's groups, just and they'll just
if
give
the
you
mount drops, I'll pay you 10,000.
Some ridiculous amount of gold. Yep.
You guys, I want to 2-man it with Bob though, just so he's been doing it every day, and we go in and it's gonna drop, and I'm gonna win the roll for it on my first time. Come on, 50-50. How epic would that be?
Yeah.
Well, there's also the whole thing where if you're a geared tank, you could definitely just run it with level 75s, wanting to get the rings and stuff. You can definitely just boost them. And
you're mount reserved.
Well, I mean, you could do that, but I mean, you could have extra shots at the mount by doing that. Oh, and you could also charge them gold too. There's all kinds of ways to make extra gold and ways to get extra summons. But yeah, it's just
make extra gold. I ran we ran an Axe 25 on Thursday, and a Turning Tide dropped. I offered the guy 6K because it's all the gold I had. I was like, I'll give you 6K, man. And he's like, I wouldn't have taken less than 20K. And I was like, you're not wrong, but still, that's a lot of gold. He said he wanted 20K for Turning Tide. And I was like,
God,
I don't have 20K, but honestly, that's a great price. I think there's got to be people out there that would be like, okay, 20K.
Yeah, I got it.
God, I want that Turning Tide, dude. It's so good.
It really is.
Wait, what is the Turning Tide?
It's the sword off of KT 25.
It's Biscaster sword.
Oh yeah, okay.
crit haste spell power.
Yep.
It's
But I'm a
like
paladin, so I'm trying to take it from all the mages. I'm like, mages, come on. I need
Come on.
you guys want your torch? I don't want the torch. That torch has got an MP5 on it. I need the crit haste spell power, okay? It looks cool too.
Shake my head.
Oh man.
You guys think listen, Turning Tide, it's built for paladins, all right? That's what it's saying. It's built for paladins.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm just gonna upgrade to Valnir.
I mean, at least he's not a red paladin, you know? Like
my prot warrior got a 200 item level sword off of what's his name? The guy with the 2 rooms, undead and living side.
Gothic.
Yeah, I got the taking sword off of Gothic, and I don't ever want to replace it now because it goes on my back.
Oh, you got it's like Slayer of the Lifeless. It's the same sword that that KT dropped in 40 Man Nax.
It looks like the Hungering Cold. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
it's an awesome looking sword.
Dude, and it goes on my back, and my shield's on my back, and I just look like the coolest Chad tank ever with it on my back. And I'm just like, well, I don't, I was like, what if the axe drops from KT tonight? I don't want to get rid of this cool ass sword. Luckily, the shield dropped, so I didn't have to make that decision. But
oh my god,
yeah, like it's so cool. Like swords that go on your back that are one hand are just fucking bis, dude. Like
as a rogue player, I approve because there's a lot of those.
Oh, dude, it's so cool, But
That's
yeah,
cool,
yeah. So all right, well, guys, definitely check out. We'll have all of the achievements and everything you can get in the show notes. So definitely check that out. What's up next? So this is actually really cool. So Glory of the Raider achievements changed in Wrath Classic. Okay, so to get the mounts, okay, there used to be some achievements in both 10 and 25 man to run at 80% capacity. What that means is basically you had to do a few things as an 8-man, 10-man raid. So you only could have 8 people. And in 25-man, you could only have 20 people. They removed these. They're still in the game if you want to get the actual achievement. But they removed you having to have those to get the mounts. And I think this is cool because these are the type of achievements that leave people out of your raid. You have to tell 2 people in your 10-man raid, hey, you can't come, we're going to do this. You have to tell 5 people in your 25-man raid, hey, you can't come, we have to do this. Now you don't have to do that unless you just want the achievements. I think it's awesome. What do you guys think?
I think it's an amazing change. I think it was those kind of achievements are just like antithetical to like the classic
Toxic
experience.
Yeah, toxic.
I think toxic is maybe a stretch, but I
Kicking
agree with what you're
buddies
saying.
out of your raid, you don't think that's toxic?
I mean, like you have a reason for it. You're not kicking them out of the raid because you think they're like dog shit or something.
Yeah, but think about who it hurts. Like,
no, I get it.
You're gonna kick that 3rd tank out. You're gonna kick that, like 3rd and 4th healer out for 25-man, right? Like,
yeah.
Unless they're an amazing player and have worked on like 2 different, like really good gear sets, you're going to bring your pumper DPS. You're not going to bring the heals. It screws those people that actually like help you constantly throughout, your rating.
Yeah.
So that's what I think.
I agree. So
I don't think it's that big a deal because you just pug it. Like pugging's not too bad. It's not too. You just have 1 week. That guy pugs a raid and he comes back next week. You can do it a second time. The only problem is you got to do it twice. Then, right? You got to do the achievement twice.
Yeah.
But I mean, wouldn't that make those people feel bad if they were the ones not chosen for that group?
Maybe
mean,
they're
I
just like,
don't-
hey, this week I won't show up. I'll go bug it. There'd probably be people that would volunteer to step out and be like, hey, oh, cool. This week I'm not going to show up to raid because I get to go to Chipotle and I'll be
Right.
back.
Or you do it when you've got a couple people that are out on vacation, right? But then
Yeah.
it's probably not ideal. It's not the right people out on vacation. It's like the people you really need to make it work. But I just don't see a reason to have an achievement for doing something with less people than you're supposed to do it with, right? Like, if they wanted that, like, it just doesn't make any sense.
I think it was like back then it was supposed to be like a novelty that you were like skilled enough to like
yeah.
do the raids with less than the maximum group. So
Right. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so too. I think it was just like a cool idea. And I think it was, again, the beginning of the achievement system, right? They didn't have achievements
Right.
before now. And they were
It was
just
like, if you're geared enough,
let's
you
try
guys
it.
can
That'd be
do
cool.
it.
People, what if we went in like this? And they just threw achievements out there and made them, and they stuck. And then they obviously have changed achievements since, and they haven't kept. They have a philosophy of how to do achievements now that probably changed considerably since the first achievements they ever put out.
yeah,
Yeah.
I actually think they did like raid achievements for even just the next tier with Ulduar a lot better. Like there's an achievement where if you clear Ulduar 10 with only Ulduar 10 gear. I actually really like those achievements.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that one.
And
Yeah.
I think that's better. Yeah, definitely. Like, I think
Because that motivates the people who just have a 10-man guild, right? Where they're just exclusively doing 10-mans.
well, and it still
Mhm.
motivates others too. Like, like it still motivates even 25-man guilds to like do those 10-mans and stuff. Like, but leaving people out, I always think is like a bummer. And like, and don't get me wrong, guys, like I'm not the one that usually gets left out. Like, but it sucks for the people that get left out. Like I've been that guy in the past, like in different things in my life. And like when you're the one that gets picked last at kickball for, recess, like that shit sucks.
It's a nerd life.
Nerd life.
I always got picked first. I don't know what that's like.
Must be nice.
Oh, all right. What else we got?
All right. Next up, we have classic mounts added to the shop in Chinese realm. We're talking about the Nether Rocket Extreme. We're talking about the Magic Rooster Egg. We're talking about the Woolly White Rhino, Dragon Kite, and the Spectral Tiger. These all added to the Chinese shop. Do you think there's any chance of them adding these to the classic US
No.
shop and EU shop?
China
I mean, there's
always does
always
their own
fans.
thing. China
Yeah.
has token. China's always monetized way more than they
Mhm.
have in the US. Like, and
As far
with
as classic.
as far as classic, yeah. And I'm sorry, with the hate that they would get if this came out. Now, do I care? I don't give a shit. If you want to put things in a shop that people can buy that don't change anything about the game other than their cosmetic appearance, I really don't care. But I know there's a lot of people that will care, especially like, and I guess because I'm not a mount collector either, I didn't grind to get this mount for like ever, right? Now, I think if you want to put them in the shop, you should put like a $sign on their butt or something, right? Like, hey, I paid for this. I think that would be fine. Then you could
On their-
notice.
Instead of their level on their characters thing, it's a little $sign. That's
Yes, yeah. Like
it
it's like
must be shame.
Like,
Shame.
that guy's a whale.
No, I agree with the Asmongold take of like, you start adding cosmetic mounts, then they stop making cool mounts that you can just get innately
Mhm.
because they spend all their time on the cosmetic mounts, and they don't spend any developer time on the thing that you could just get innately normally. Like right now, we got the Invincible, or Ashes of Alar. If the cash shop exist back then, if they had viable mounts, they would have just been viable. They wouldn't have been droppable mounts. We would have gotten another Proto Drake there instead, or something, or another Wyvern on instead of Ashes of Alar off of
right.
Well, it's
Burning Crusade.
it's the same thing with like armor sets started to suck as soon as they put in transmog. because they were like, well, people could just use
Bob
the
and
old
his
stuff that we
transmog.
made. Cool. Yeah, I hate
Yeah.
transmog.
I mean, here's the thing, though. I
I'm
guess
with you, Bob.
if I could
Oh,
trust,
man, so many
that-
people aren't.
if I could trust that all the money they were going to get from people buying classic mounts would go towards developing more content for classic, I would be
Yeah.
okay with it, right? If they said we want to develop classic plus and branch off from Wrath and say, here it is, and
Sorry.
we're going to do that by the revenue that we're going to make by selling mounts and doing all
Yeah.
X, Y, and Z, right? Like, I'd be like, okay, sure, I might buy a mount, right? I don't even care about the mount, but I might buy a mount just to let you go do your
Right.
thing. It's not going to
But this
happen,
is
though.
Blizzard we're talking about.
Right. So it's not going to happen, right? So
Yeah.
I think that's my stance, right? Is like, if I could think, like, if this was the revenue source that they needed to make it to become a better game in the future for us, sure, I'm fine with that. But
Yeah, it just reminds me of the time they did the was it the not the Race to World First, but they did the Mythic Plus, like they have their competitive Mythic Plus arena tournament or whatever, and they said, and we're gonna have this pet. If you guys buy the pet, it'll help source or crowdsource the prize money for the thing, and so we'll have $100,000 the prize pool. But if we get the pets, we'll add that money to the prize pool, and then the prize pool with the pet included surpassed $100,000. It was like 150,000. So they just took out their share, and they were like, yeah, well, we just put all the whole crowdsource got in there, so they didn't have to put up their own money. They just put in the money from the crowdsource. It was like,
That was rough.
like everyone was so excited for that pet to
that's not the
buy
point.
it, to support it, and then they were like, cool, you guys did such a good job. We're not going to put the money that we were going to put in baseline anymore. And you guys, the money you guys raised is all now the prize pool. And we're like, okay, Blizzard, that's not why we supported it.
Right.
Really, really shitty.
Well,
Yeah.
okay,
God.
so now this is actually like a later on topic we're going to talk later on about, but the Undying challenge just happened, and there is an arena tournament happening that everybody can get involved in. We talked about it last week, like it's in the show notes last week. What do you think about these types of things, like the Spectral Tiger specifically, I'm thinking of, as being a gift for placing at a certain height in the arena tournament or the Undying challenge, like tournament, like something where it actually means something really cool? Because the Spectral Tiger is like the Spectral Tiger isn't what's on it's just the companion pet that's on the store in China. I should have stated that. I said Spectral Tiger, but I meant cub. It's the pet, but like the Spectral Tiger going to those huge event winners would be a really cool thing. I
disagree. I think it should be a different mount that is only something you could get by winning.
Well, in Classic, the Spectral Tiger would be something you could only get from that if they did this, because the Spectral Tiger is not in Classic because it was a trading card. Like it was like you bought cards, Mel, and you actually would open up and find a physical card that had a code on it, and that's what gave you the mount. So like there's not one in Classic right now, and I think those types of big tournaments and things would be something where I would be okay with them giving that mount out to people. And when you saw somebody on that, you're like, holy shit, I don't know what they did, but they did something. I'm gonna Google their name and find out, it would be cool, I think.
Yeah, I'm here, Bob. Totally with you. I think they need to do more of that kind of stuff, but not enough where it doesn't feel special, but enough where you can see people with like those really special mounts, some other cosmetic thing.
I mean, you look at it like the Undying achievement in killing Kel'Thuzad in Season of Mastery gave him the winter tabard or whatever it was, the tabard of frost or something. It was just a reused tabard. I mean, it'd be cooler to give something like the spectral. I'm not saying for the Undying and Season of Mastery, but
I mean, for anything, like giving something cool that's noticeable that you're like, oh wow.
Par for the course is what I meant, and that Blizzard is reusing assets and very happy to not put any development time into something.
And they should just go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say a tabard doesn't really like catch a lot of people's eyes, but anybody seeing a mount that they don't have or have never seen, instantly, they're like, how do I get that mount? Like, and you know, and if those mounts were given out specifically for those different things, and they did do it, like there was a mount that was given out in TBC that was only for the people that got to the finals of their first arena tournament, like, and but like, you know, that was the only time they ever did it. But like, I think that would be something that would be really cool. And it doesn't make them a ton of money, but it does build the legend. Like, like back in the day,
the game cooler.
Yeah, back in the day, vanilla, like most of us on most servers didn't know that you could do the actual AQ achievement to get the mount on multiple people. Literally, most of us thought that we could only do it on one character per server. So like, and it was across most servers, just one character per server that had the mount, you know, that rang the gong. And like, that was a cool thing. And it's okay that everybody doesn't have access to it. Like, it's just like, it builds the legend. I don't know how to explain it besides that.
Yeah, I mean, even if we're just talking about vanilla back then, even just having like the Dreadsteed as a warlock was just legendary back then. Or just having your epic mount back in vanilla was like amazing.
Dude, I remember I made my first lock in TBC, and I remember just being like, well, how hard is it to get the mount? And I was at level 70, and they're like, dude, just buy a mount. Just buy an epic mount. Don't even mess with it. Cause like you still had to have all the items. Like there was no information on where to get all those items. And I did the quest in Vanilla Classic and was like, holy shit, I didn't realize it was so much. Like, and so like they were right. Like just like don't even get it. Like most warlocks didn't even have it in TBC. So yeah. They're like, I don't know, those types of things that would be cool.
So cool. I helped so many warlocks in Vanilla Classic get their Dreadsteeds.
I got mine. Felt good.
I remember wanting that shield off that. I never got it, but I always wanted that shield that dropped off that on my shaman because it had the most strength of any shield in the game, even all the way through Nax, I think. And so as a shaman, it'd be cool to have for PvP to have a little one-hander with that. I think it was like 18 strength or something on it. It was like insane. I was like, oh, this is the most strength on any shield. Whatever.
Dude, we had so many chamois. Like I think every chamois in our guild in TBC had the Wall of Tear? What's the one that drops off of Illidan?
Oh, the spiky one that looked like cool with the tier 6 warrior gear.
Yeah, that has the proc. Like all of our shaman had it because we had like 7 of them drop in the first 7 weeks.
Yeah.
No skulls.
No skulls until later. But 3 of us did get skulls, so it did work out in the end. But all right, so the next thing is Season of Mastery to Wrath Classic transfers were turned on and then turned off a couple days later. So Season of Mastery, there was a little stealth change, and you were able to move your Season of Mastery characters over to a Wrath server.
They said that was going to happen.
Yeah, they did, but like they just changed it. I think Duranosaur broke the story on YouTube. But like basically, you're allowed to move, but You're only allowed to move to certain realms. It was pretty rough. But for some reason, like they say it's a bug that they like stopped it, but they're going to you're going to have a chance again November 1st. They say at the earliest. So like that's not confirmed November 1st, but be looking for that. And they're going to try and open it up to go to more servers.
So wait, is this saying what were we on Obsidian Edge? Is that what we were on?
Yeah.
So this is saying I can go to Atiesh or Man Creek?
Yes, only. So
Lovely.
I think they stopped it so they could possibly throw this is totally tinfoil hat, but I think they're going to put in something because there's a lot of locked realms at the moment.
Yeah.
I think they want to make it so that if you already have characters on a locked realm, you can move your Season of Mastery characters to your locked realm. And I think I'm could be completely off, but I don't think it was a bug that stopped them. I think it was basically they're wanting to let people take those characters to the server that they play on, and they needed to make a couple adjustments to the way the transfer system works for locked servers. That's my guess. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Okay, one thing, I think that's probably right. But one thing that I see that's interesting is that if you don't transfer, those characters will be deleted, right?
They're literally deleting the Season of Mastery characters, like the Season of Mastery servers soon.
That's rough.
And they say it's to prepare for the next season, right? Which I guess would make sense. It's not like you could use that character if they were doing a different season, right? But at the same time, that just seems crazy to me.
It seems strange not to transfer them to a default destination realm.
Well, you can take them to Classic Era or to Wrath.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's just weird not to default like, okay, you don't care about your character? Fine, we will put it somewhere and then you can complain about it later. Or
Like, what about people that just haven't logged in since Season of Mastery ended, right? And like they have their character and they want it. I feel like it should say if you don't transfer, it'll be transferred to Classic Era, right?
See,
like,
and I do get that thought, but when I think about it, they might be in meetings being like, dude, people haven't touched these characters in forever. Like, if they don't want their character, that's not our problem. Like, we don't need to like make this big old, like, because they had all kinds of problems closing the dead servers. Like, maybe they're just like, dude, maybe they have data that says, okay, well, all these characters we moved off of dead servers to other servers still haven't been logged into. Why are we wasting this time doing this extra work? That's my guess.
I mean, that makes sense.
Just a guess.
I can see it.
I just find it like, why not? Well, I find it like that's the why we're playing. That's why I'm paying $15 a month. That's why I'm paying Blizzard, because this is the server that's permanent. This is where I keep my characters. This is why I play not on private servers. I play on a private server because I don't care about my character and I just want to play the game and experience it, do something crazy, try some weird stuff, whatever the private server had. Playing a Blizzard server because this is where I know my character is going to be taken care of. I will be able to come back to it years later and look at it and be like, oh yeah, look at that, that's cool.
Right.
And it's kind of weird to have a character.
It's weird to me to think that it would, just be thrown in the trash, right?
Yeah.
Like, because I could stop my subscription and come back in 2 years and my character will still be there. Right? Like, we've all done that. Like, we've all seen that can happen. So why not? Like, it seems weird that just because you chose to play Season of Mastery, that your character gets deleted. Like, I get it not being able to be played on the next season, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, as far as the Season of Mastery characters, for anybody that played hardcore, anybody you have at 60 that still has the buff, that's a trophy. That's something you can just log into and show people, dude, I've still got the buff. and I'm 60. Like I
Do I get to
never
keep the buff
died.
if I transfer to Wrath?
I
Does
know.
my
Yeah.
buff go up?
That sucks. Like that's what because I would like to bring my rogue and my druid over, but I'm just like, but do I still have the buff that shows that like I did this thing? I mean, I have it on the Road to Rag site, you know, the hardcore site. Like I have the 2-time, you know, hardcore master, but like
It's not Blizzard official.
yeah, I want it there for anybody in chat that is like, oh, you didn't do the hardcore challenge. Be like, I'll show you. I got it right here. You know, like it's kind of a bummer to not have that trophy case. So like, I hope Blizzard thinks about that. And I don't understand why that buff is not in Wrath. Like, I understood why it wasn't in TBC because they came up with it afterwards. But why is that buff not in Wrath?
You do have an achievement panel. Tells you
Yeah, I
if
was
you
gonna
died.
say, yeah, you do get an achievement.
For never dying.
Yep, that's what Alenia said in the chat. It's on you're on your achievement list if you never died.
Oh,
How many people have that achievement?
I do. Do I need to log in? Like, but it's not account specific though, I guess.
Yeah, it'd be that character. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's what Alenia's saying. Like if you took your Psalm character that you never died on and transferred it to Wrath, you would get the achievement that like you leveled to 60 without dying.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's okay then. That's okay then.
Yeah.
Okay.
You do have your statistic page is what I meant. That you have your statistics page. It tells you how many times you died if you look at it. And you can look at other people's statistics too. It tells you how many times you died, what you've died to, if you died to fall damage, died to PvP. Like it shows you all your. It's pretty cool. I love the little statistic panel. I wish it was, if they ever do Classic Plus, I hope the statistic panel gets put into Classic Plus. I love those little numbers to look at and see what I did.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there was a lot of issues with it with DKs being on the never died until 60.
Oh, because they went from 55
Good
to
job,
60
DKs.
without
You
dying.
went 5 levels without dying. High five.
Participation trophy.
Yeah, right. Everybody gets a trophy.
I still think to this day that they like DKs should have always been you have to convert a character at level 55. It should have been that whether you're a hunter, whatever class you are, you can work up because you can be any race as a DK. Like you should have had to take a character that was level 55 and become a DK from that character. And then you wouldn't have had a problem with this achievement.
And then, dude, I mean, you can even go even farther with that, right? You can go a little extrapolation, like, oh, you get rid of a hunter? Okay, well now you're a DK, but you have one extra ability that's hunter flavored. You get rid of a
Right? Oh, that'd be cool.
Death totem with you, you know, like one little extra ability. It's a racial for just because you.
That
you
would be cool.
Give me
That'd be awesome.
DK with stealth. Let's go.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you get a.
No,
Whoa.
let's not get crazy.
Yeah, you'd maybe have like if you were a rogue, like you could maybe have distract as a DK. Like you would want to give something that was like, you know, that was like small. You know what I mean? Like just a little flavor. You wouldn't want to give something OP.
Ambush. Give DK with ambush. You just shove your axe into their back.
Ambushing with a 2-handed weapon.
Yeah.
Who I used to be.
He's in there somewhere.
I mean, distract would be like a great one. Yeah. Like that's just a flavor, you know, like
it cheaped all of a sudden. You're like, what? I thought I was fighting Death Knight. And it's like,
oh god, polymorph. DK with polymorph. Jeez.
Let's give him a little undead sheep pops up out of there. His little skeleton sheep.
No, oh god, DK with bubble. Oh my god, they never die.
Right?
They instantly die if they bubble. They'd have it on their bars, but if they use it, they instantly die because they can't tank the holy. They're like an undead. Flavor button. They instant kill themselves.
Yeah. Like, oh shit.
Man.
Called pop the bubble or something. I don't know.
Blizzard clearly has to hire us for our ideas.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
We've got the moneymakers right here.
All right, so November 1st, if you guys want to move your characters, definitely keep watch on that. We'll keep letting you know if anything changes. All right, the last thing. Yeah.
Go ahead.
The last thing on the list is the Undying challenge. Now, last week when Crix was on the show, we did know that Crix was going to be one of the casters, but we couldn't tell you. But Crix and Sarth and Zyrene were some of the casters on the Undying challenge, which happened today. You'll be listening to this podcast on Monday, so you're not going to be able to see it. But
happened on Saturday.
Yeah, they're going to be doing it tomorrow, the actual challenge. So today was them running through her heroics. Everybody was allowed to do one heroic per character. So they
like
went
a
in
world
and
tour, though, right? Like
yeah,
all the heroics.
Yeah, trying to gear up. They were allowed to do one of each heroic each, and so there was some interesting. I don't know if anybody watched this today, but there was some interesting gearing, and some people are really under geared going into the challenge tomorrow. So
I bet
it's going to be interesting. But our boys Zyrene, Crix, and Sarth are casting it, and I'm pretty excited to watch it tomorrow. Luckily, the Chiefs game is later, so I'll be able to watch this and then the Chiefs game, which is good. So
tomorrow they'll be doing Eye of Eternity and Obsidian Sanctum first to gear up. And then after that at 11 a.m. Pacific starts the Nax race to finish. And for every time they die, it's not. So the Undying challenge makes it sound like hardcore, like you die, you delete, right? But this is every time somebody dies, they add 30 seconds to their time. Okay, so if anybody dies, it's an additional 30 seconds that gets added to their time. And so they're racing to see who can complete it first in the least amount of time.
And I see Jhaman reading right now. You didn't know anything about this, did you?
No, I had no idea what was going on. What you were talking about?
Dude.
It's gonna be cool. It's gonna be cool. I mean, there's some of the best players in the world. Even if they're under geared, I think they're gonna smash through it.
Yeah, it's basically Progress versus Space Force. So EU versus NA, and yeah.
So they put them on a basically a different server, and they said you have October 22nd to do all of the heroic dungeons if you want and gear up as much as you can. You're given this basic level gear. I forget what the level gear
and this is all Blizzard sponsored too.
Yeah. I forget what the level gear was, but it was a basic level gear, and you get to do all the dungeons once, and it's 10 people. You get to do all the dungeons once, and then tomorrow you get to do Eye of Eternity and Obsidian Sanctum once, and then whatever you've gotten from all of that, then you go into the race to finish Nax, and it's a speed run race basically, and every time anybody dies, you add 30 seconds to their time. So it's like a penalty, right? And see who can do it faster.
That's cool. That's really cool.
It's really cool because we've only had PvP stuff so far for Classic that's Blizzard sponsored, and this is kind of like a mythic race to world first type of deal, but Classic race to speed.
I want to. Okay, so for the next, I want to see them do more of this, but I want to see more guilds involved. And I want to be the race to Algalon. I think that'd be so cool.
I don't know what that is. What's Algalon?
Algalon, boss. Yeah, he was like the super secret hard mode only boss in Old War. That when you unlocked him, you only had 1 hour in game time to kill him.
We actually, that's one Mel we actually never did. We did
Well, good. I don't
Yogg.
feel bad about not
We did
remembering now.
Yogg's. We did Yogg's Zero Lights. Like we did all kinds of great stuff back in the day, but we never did Algalon.
Algalon was cool. Just 'cause I don't think it was very. I think if when I hear people talk about it, it wasn't very like the hardest mechanic fight, but because you only had an hour to do it, it was very. It was tough because
It was
like
also very visually striking. When you like doing that fight, you're like, whoa.
yeah. Yeah. It's like it's kind of like doing the priest mind control on Vesuvius, where you're like, what's going on? How do we do this? And you only have an hour, and you're like, we've wiped 5 times, okay, or we've lost our attempts for the week, okay.
Or what's the Oculus, the dragons that you have to take? Like, don't even get me started. I won't even do heroic Oculus anymore. I just like it's too much. There's too much. I don't need anything from it. Like I don't want to do it. But to go on, Crick, Sarth, and Zyrene are casting, and then Hula Hoops. I don't know who Hula Hoopy is. Hula Hoopsy?
Yeah,
anybody?
No.
I feel bad, but if anybody knows who she is, I'm sure she's wonderful.
It's cool, man.
She was good on the broadcast. I feel like she's a retail person, and I feel like they should have gotten Mel if they were trying to get a female in there.
No.
Yeah, I feel like, she got Mel or Desi or somebody who's in the classic scene, but if I don't know her, she's not in the classic scene. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Like I watch everything classic. I love every podcast. I check them all out. I've never seen or heard of her before in my life. But she did a good job. So, I mean, I've got to give her that. But at the same time, I feel like you should have got a classic Andy for this classic challenge.
A classic Andrea, as you would.
Oh, yeah. Classic Adriana.
There you go.
But yeah, it's pretty cool. And I hope they do more events like this. Like, you know. Definitely
that's right up my alley with the noob core stuff, just trying to twink a character out. You only have this amount of time, then go in, don't die. Like exactly. It's perfect, man. It's so cool.
Yeah. And so, definitely, you won't be able to watch it live listening to this on Monday, but definitely check out the YouTube. The more support that, they get, we'll have all the links in the show notes. The more support they get, the more chance we'll get more of this in the future. And we want this. This is so cool. This is so cool. And Crix was hilarious on this cast. Like everybody was great. Like I definitely implore you, if you hadn't known about it, definitely check out the VODs. Like this is great.
Okay, she's a general manager at Raider.io.
Which is the big old
they have a
big old
retail thing. Yep, she's totally retail. Unfortunately, I don't feel like a retail person should have been involved, but she did a good job. So
we got our 3 friends that are doing it, and we love them, and we're excited for them, and I'm excited to see maybe it gets her into classic and to realize all the wonderful things that are classic based.
It's definitely showing we need a female in the group, and I'm just saying there's a lot of females you could have picked.
I don't think it's showing we need a female in the group. I think consistently, even on the road to 80, like the race to 80, they had
we could have Lania in there
as well, right? Like I'm just saying, I think their motivation is not necessarily male female. I think it's trying to promote retail and classic to get them a little bit more cross stream.
Yeah.
And if that was the thing, they would have had Mr. GM in there. Like, I'm just calling it how it is.
Okay.
I think you would have been better. I think Desi would have been better. I
do not think I would have been better.
I think Silver would have been better. I'm not saying they would have done better or you would have done better. I'm just saying it would have been better for the classic crowd to take in, because I guarantee you everybody is doing just what we've just done here, being like, I don't know who this person is.
Yeah.
Well, good for her. She gets exposure.
There you go. That's what I was thinking too. Yeah, maybe she's cool. Maybe she'll hang
Dude,
around.
she definitely was cool. Like that's the whole point I want to get across. Like she did a good job. Like I enjoyed her. But I was just saying, like, to keep it, classic,
You see, you're gatekeeping. Okay. Got it.
Yes. I am very much
Only
a
the people in my
classic
community
Andy.
can do anything in my community.
Dude,
Okay,
dude,
you gotta pay the piper.
we were
Big Hot Warcraft loaded. He's a gatekeeper.
so we were I was gonna do a pod with Scotty J right after Scotty J and Mr. GM did their interview with Blizzard. I did my interview with Brian Birmingham at Blizzard. We were doing an after the interview thing. And he's like, hey, well, I could probably get Mr. GM to come on. And I was like, Indies retail? And he was like, yeah, but he's really big. He's got a lot of exposure. And I was like, yeah, I don't know if that's Warcraft Reloaded's like style to bring on a retail player. Like I don't hate on him, but it's not our podcast style. Like
It's so funny that we can have this, like, we're literally playing both games that are called Warcraft, but you're like, I just don't, it's like you read Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, and I read, the I don't know, I'm trying to think of another book series that the freaking what's the one that's coming out? They're making a show right now for it's not important to the thing, but just basically two different book series, and you're like, we both like fantasy, we both like wizards, but no, it's not the same wizards.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, to be fair to Bob, retail and classic are very different games, and from anyone that plays retail has told me the communities are also very different.
Yeah, and I gotta keep my street cred.
Time,
like I love Mr. GM. I actually watch his stuff, but like I don't know that he fits on this show. You know what I mean?
I'm just saying you're making a stereotype because of the game that they play, the version of the same game that they play, right? And all I'm saying is that
version's so different.
Sure, it is very different, but they're like hula hoops is coming to a classic thing to cast a classic thing. Okay, so how is that bad for our community? Like you're sitting there wanting to shut out everybody. Like you're like, I don't want to grow our community. Forget you people. Like stay on your lane.
I want to grow our community with classic, and Alania in chat says it perfectly. It's like a Star Wars person bringing a Star Trek person on to talk about Star Wars. No, it's not like, okay.
It's like an original Star Wars fan getting mad at the people that like the prequels.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Or it's like the people that like the prequels getting mad at the person that likes the original, right? Like we're in the same universe. We're
they have their laser swords move a little bit faster. Okay, I don't like that their laser swords are moving so fast. Maybe it meant a little bit more when their laser swords are going
After 8 and 9, everybody realizes that the prequels weren't as bad as they thought they were. After 8 and 9 aired, so like I guess I think Mel actually is onto it, like about the different Star Wars. Like I think that's actually a really good analogy. Like, yeah, that's fine. Like I'm not gonna bring on somebody who loves Star Wars Episode 9 to talk about Episode 4. I'm just not gonna do it. Like it just doesn't make sense. Even though even though I like them and I like what they do, like I don't think it fits for the show. And I don't care about growing the audience. Like that's never been my
growing
thing.
Your audience, I'm saying growing our community. Like how does it hurt us if retail people want to come and play classic?
Well, there's a ton of retail people that listen to this, but they also play a lot of classic. Like, maybe Mr. GM doesn't.
Player that loves classic secretly.
Yeah, but like these different retail creators don't play a bunch of classic. Like I can tell that just by reading their comments in the Blizzard sponsored creator Discord. I'm like, ooh,
Yeah.
that suggestion.
Okay, Elaine, you made a good comment though. Like, or she said a question, but it's really a comment. If they haven't played any classic, I don't think they should commentate.
Yeah.
But I'm sure she has. Like just like watching her, like I'm sure she has played some. Like so
there was a Death Knight.
Has she
you
played
had to get the
Nax?
mount for playing the Death Knight.
I don't know if she has, but she did do a good job. Like not as good as Sarth and Zyrene's amazing, but not as good as Sarth and Crix and Zyrene. So
you have a slight personal bias to Sarth, Crix, and Zyrene, though. Let's be real.
I just love them like brothers. There's no bias there. What are you talking about?
We just spent like a whole week with Crix and Sarth. So,
we only cuddled at night just a few times. It's not weird. Yes, but yeah. Either way, please check it out, guys. Like we want them to get more exposure. All right. Anybody got anything else before we do this last little interview with Mike? I'll take that as a no. All right, let's move into
Bobby, we need to have a talk about this World of Warcraft Classic. Do I look like I know what a WoW token is?
All right, so we have Bawlsosteel on. He's been on Countdown to Classic so many times, but we've never heard his backstory. Josh is just too cool to talk to Mike about, where he came
from.
Just
knows his backstory. I'm sure he did it early on, right?
I don't think he did. I mean, I've listened to every Countdown to Classic since.
Maybe not on podcast, maybe just off podcast.
Yeah, maybe like a sprinkle here and there. I would mention something, but yeah, never just like dedicated to that.
Well, and to be fair, it's not Josh's thing. Josh does amazing things and he does his own thing, but I love to get to know where people came from. And I don't care if you're a content creator or not. If you come on the show, the first time you're on the show, we're going to find out a little bit about you. And that's just my thing. So let's get into it. When did you first start playing WoW initially? Like the first time?
So I played original vanilla. I started playing right at the beginning of 2005. So I was 10 years old when I started playing vanilla WoW.
A true squeaker.
Yeah, I was 10 when vanilla came out. 100%. We're gonna go with that.
But yeah, I was
10
I
plus
was a
9.
true squeaker. Yeah, 10 plus 9. Yeah, true squeaker when I first started playing WoW.
So okay, so you started playing WoW. How did you get into it?
No, can we talk about this first? One, how did you convince your parents to buy a monthly subscription at the age of 10?
So I actually shared an account with my older brother at first, who was 13.
That's still impressive.
Yeah, and basically I had to share. We had a family PC that I had to share with him and my younger sister who didn't play WoW, but she would just use the computer. And 2 months into the game, my brother just stopped playing WoW, and he's like, "Yeah, you can just have this account." And I just went crazy with it. And I had to fight him so much for time on the PC, especially during raids.
Dude, this reminds me of me and my brother, but it wasn't for WoW. We had our own computers by WoW, but for Ultima Online, we had to fight to use the same computer. And I won because I was the older brother, but it still sucked. I felt bad.
You were the older brother
play.
by 7 years. So that's an easier. How old was your brother? 13, 3 years older than you?
Yeah, he was 3 years older.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
So
it's a little less, it's more even playing ground there. But I guess what I want to know is like, when I was 10, I feel like because raiding in original vanilla was not like it is now in classic, right? Like raiding Nax in original vanilla or even MC was a long duration of time.
So there were some funny memories I still have to this day of me having to come up with like random emergency excuses of like why my older brother would like kick me off of the computer sometimes.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
It was always your older brother? Like your parents were like...
Yeah, it was almost always my older brother with the PC. It was crazy.
See,
Okay,
that
what were your
was the
raid
problem I
times?
had to deal with was like my parents would kick me off from my little 12-year-old brother. Like, fine.
What were your raid times though? Like, tell me this. Like, how often?
Hold on.
And...
No. You're jumping way too in front.
Listen, I just have so many questions.
So was that the first MMO you and your brother played, or did your brother play anything prior?
So my brother had not played any prior, but I played RuneScape prior. I started playing RuneScape when I was 7 years old. I would ride my bike down to the public. This is before we even had a computer in our home. I would ride my bike to the public library to play RuneScape.
Wow, at the library. Do they even have those anymore? Are those still in existence?
Yeah.
Amazon.
They're great.
I'm just kidding.
I work at a public library, so.
Do they still do shh?
No.
Do you still play
in
RuneScape?
some areas.
No, hold on, Jhaman.
Do you still play RuneScape at work?
No, I haven't played old school RuneScape since like 2019.
So what do you play at the library now?
Oh God. No, I listen
Clash
to this
Clans.
podcast.
Clash Clans.
I listened to this podcast, so there you
Remote
go.
desktop, log in so you can beat the queue.
Yeah. I'm on Skyfury. Got no queues to worry about.
Lucky.
Yep.
Okay,
All right,
so
that's the end of the interview.
okay,
Thanks.
so
we're done with you.
So like, how long did you play retail? Like,
So I played retail WoW up until LFR and Cataclysm. I was like, nope. LFR was the straw that broke the camel's back, and I just from the end of Cataclysm until like 2016 2017, I just played private servers.
we are the same, except for I quit at that same time in Cata, but I didn't play private servers. Unfortunately, people told me about them, but I just always thought that it would be not worthwhile to like lose your character.
Yeah, at this point, I've played WoW longer on private servers than I have on retail. Actually, at this point.
Interesting.
Yeah. I feel like Cata broke so many people. What do you remember why you left in Cata? Like what?
LFR. It was LFR. I was a super hardcore raider ever since like TBC. And when they just put something in, you're just like, yeah, you can just queue for this and just get like really good gear. Because especially when they first implemented LFR, the best guilds during Cata would literally just like form their own raids for LFR and queue into it, and they would just rig the system to stack people with certain gear because the tier set bonuses from the Dragon Soul LFR gear were insane. So that was literally a part of like the best guilds in the world to help progress through Dragon Soul.
See, and I quit before LFR came out, I think. And
you quit just a month before LFR came out, because I quit the month after when it came out.
So like LFR didn't have anything to do with why I quit, but I was always under the impression that LFR was just like looking for dungeon, like a looking for raid group, like, and you still went into the same raid that everybody else went into, right?
No,
so I think it was like a couple weeks ago that I realized that it was like a different instance, and I was like, what? That doesn't make any sense. Like that is insane to
And,
me.
and at least in Dragon Soul, it only gave slightly worse gear than just doing like the normal version.
So you were required to do it too.
Yeah, because the tier set bonuses for almost every class were absolutely insane, and they were only slightly worse than the normal version of the raid.
Could you do both the normal version and the LFR version?
Yeah, you could. Yeah, it was a lot.
Yeah, and it was something where people were, I don't know what happened after that, but it was something where people were forced to do that as well, period. Like, you needed to do that.
Yeah, and also it's one of the longest lasting raid tiers in WoW's history. Dragon Soul dragged on forever. Forever.
That's something we talked about in the Cataclysm episode with Scotty J and Willie. It's something that I was like, I don't know. Maybe I won't hate Cata as much as I did back in the day because it'll be faster. Like,
nope.
No,
nope.
Don't pick up the cat.
So I'm the one here. I actually liked Cataclysm. I liked the first 2 tiers of raids in Cataclysm. I think Firelands. Yeah. If you ever just want to learn, just enjoy a little bit of Cataclysm, or just want to dabble in Cataclysm, just do Firelands. Firelands is such an amazing raid.
I think the raids were great. I think like the raiding is good. It's fun for the level, but I think what we're feeling now with Nax being so easy, with Karazhan how easy it was, I think the entry level raid needs to be like really simple and like get those people in and enjoy it, and then slowly the difficulty ramps up. I felt like Kata started out like just slapping you in the face.
That's exactly.
Jhaman, I just have to say one word for you: crackle.
Yeah. Okay.
You ever crackle with Nefarian?
I don't. No, I don't remember.
I think
I broke up before we even got to that point.
So the pre-nerf version of Nefarian, every time you pushed 10% of his health, he would deal 90% raid damage to the entire raid.
Okay, yeah.
That's 90% of your health gone because you took him down 10% health. It was fucking, and he'd be doing other mechanics at the same time. So you had to coordinate pushing every 10% of his health.
You need to find the freaking platform for the lava raising, right? Isn't that
yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, it was so insanely hard pre-nerf.
Jhaman hit exactly on what I think, and I've talked about it many times. I think at the start of an expansion, the first raid should always be easy. It should be easy to get people in, to get people hooked, and then you put out the harder raid, and then you see what separates the women from the girls, the men from the boys. Like, then you see, who's gonna stay. But like, if you make it so hard right off the bat, like that's what I talked to you about, Jhaman, when you were first on the show. We had a group of friends that wanted to do 10-mans, and like they just weren't good enough to do them, and like they just quit right after leveling. And I think that's been a problem probably in retail for a long time. Like, make the first raids easy, make them loot pinatas, make them fun. Yeah. And you'll get people invested enough to research and get better so they can move on. But if they just hit a wall right off the start, like they're not going to.
Yeah, there's so much going on, though, at the beginning of an expansion, too, right? You don't also want a very difficult raid that you feel pressured to have so much done and all of this other stuff done.
You're trying to get your shoulder in chance. You're trying to get everything else.
Professions up to max level. You're still trying to get, ults maybe geared up. Like, you're trying to do so much that having an easier raid in the first part of an expansion is great. Now, letting that part of the expansion drag on way too long makes people lose a lot of interest, right? Especially competitive people.
Yeah, Dragon Soul lasted for 18 months. One tier of an expansion lasted 18 months.
Wow.
And I think Ian was a big part of this problem. Like, they hired a guy that was like literally the best guy in the world, and made a website on how, elitist jerks on how to do the best boss parses, and they made him in charge of making the raids. And like, I don't think he understood the beauty of having the first raid be a raffle stomp. Like, it's a good thing.
I think it's more to do with the multiple tiers of difficulty in retail, and that you have normal mode, LFR mode, heroic mode, mythic mode, and they're designing for mythic, and then they slowly pull mechanics out and pull stuff out to make it, and then you're doing normal mode, and you're like, okay, I don't know what's happening. Like, nothing's happening to my character in LFR.
Well,
and I would rather it be like it is in Classic. Even Trial of the Champion, Trial of the Crusader, when they added a heroic version versus normal version, I didn't like. I always thought Ulduar was perfect because it was just everything was the same version. You didn't have to like, which version are we running this week? Because then you didn't have to bring raiders. And then if you wiped a couple times on a heroic version, you didn't want, and you couldn't get the hard loot, you're like, we didn't bring the best people this week, or everyone's head's not in the game. Let's just clear it on normal, and we'll get it done, and we'll move on.
You're speaking my language, and I've always said, do not give better gear for the highest tier of raid. And people fight me on this all the time, but I'm sorry. You will get more viewership, more everything if people aren't salty about not being able to have the same gear you have. That's why I love the Undying challenge, because they're doing it with low gear. So everybody watching can be like, well, shit, I've got that gear, but this guy is fucking killing it. Holy crap. Whereas I
still think there has to be motivation to do
hold on, but
harder.
but the motivation's there for the 1% that does it. Okay, so so to finish what I was saying, there's a lot of people that'll be like, well, I could probably do that if I could, do this as a full-time job and have that gear. There's a lot of anger there. But if they only made the highest tier of rating to where it was just achievements, mounts, cosmetics, that would make everything in retail better. It would make everything better, because people would be like, well, that's the same gear I have, but these guys and gals are amazing. They'll see it, and they'll see it through a new eye, because they can't make an excuse. Oh, well, I could probably do that if, I could play 40 hours a week on WoW and have that gear. I could probably do that too. They won't have that excuse.
No, people that are going to make that excuse.
Dally agreed with me. So did Jordy.
That's fine. People are going to have that excuse no matter what. They're going to find an excuse as to why they can't do that content. Okay, whether it's the gear, whether it's the time, whether it's anything.
But the gear is the biggest thing, because they can't get that.
No, it doesn't matter. All I'm saying is that there's no reason to remove better gear rewards for doing it in a harder way. I just think the top end shouldn't give better gear. That's all. Mythic.
As a player, I want I need the reason to do the best version. 100%. I'm not going to go do the hardest mode just to have a bunny rabbit next to me that has a
gold star.
But have you ever done trophy? Have you ever done mythic rating?
No, I've never done it.
Exactly. And you're not going to do it because it's way too much work, right? What I'm saying is that you give everybody more for what they can actually do. Only people that do it as a full-time job in retail can do mythic. But
I'm saying is you're thinking of it from getting more people involved in it. I'm saying the people that already do it and they are recruiting people, a lot of their reason for doing it is for the best gear, because they want to parse hard.
You think so?
They want to be the best in the world. And the only reason they do it there is because they want the best gear, right? The reason I'm doing 25-man raids right now is because I want the best weapon. I want the best thing so that I can then pump in PvP, so that I can then pump in parsing. And so my whole motivation is not because I want to clear the content. I've already cleared the content. I already killed the boss. I want to
Right.
do it every week, it's because I want that gear. If I'm going to do it every week, it's because I want to upgrade my character. I'm not, you do it once and okay, the content's the same as everything. All right, well, then I'm not
Then
going to do
you
it again.
go back to the
And then
normal.
nobody
and
else
you
will
Yes.
ever get the
clear
achievement
it
again.
quickly.
You're not. But people like Salve Dally, people like Crix, people like Jordy, people like Sarth
Not
are
if there's
going
not better
to do
gear.
it
I
regardless
guarantee.
of the.
No.
I have talked to them. They're going
But-
to do
okay,
it
so-
regardless of the gear because they're doing it like they're doing it
You've
for
talked
the
to them in a hypothetical
achievement.
situation.
For more than 1 week, they do the achievement, they get it, they're going to go back in and do it again with another group of people.
Definitely not.
Yeah,
We-
well, in Classic specifically, yeah, because their speed can be faster the next week.
Okay, yeah, they could be.
Okay, if
they
they're
could
in
be
a speed
cracking.
running competition, fine. But like,
But that's
I don't
all
know.
Classic is.
Okay,
It's all
we are
speed
way
running.
off topic. We
Like,
are
for the
supposed to be
top
talking
end.
about
Yeah,
Mike.
you are.
Yes,
We're
yes,
supposed to
yes.
be talking about
True,
Mike.
true. All right, so let's get back to the squeaker.
No.
Okay. So you are 10.
Yes.
Now, did your brother get you in this guild? Like, how did you get into a guild? Like, okay, tell us how far you got next first. In original vanilla as a 10-year-old.
So I cleared up to I didn't get into AQ in vanilla, in like original vanilla. I killed Nefarian in original vanilla. That's as far as I got.
Okay.
I did not get to AQ or Nex Rabbits
Okay,
in
well,
original vanilla.
Here. Just to let everybody know, I've said it before, but like it's been a long time since we had episodes back in Vanilla Classic. But just to let everybody know, the majority of people were not clearing BWL at all. Like, and it dropped off significantly in AQ, and then it dropped off to only 1% of the population that had already dwindled. Only 1% actually finished Nax. So just to let you know, so BWL is a huge accomplishment coming from somebody who did server second on, Mug,
Very good, very good.
Can I ask you my
Thal.
question now?
But hold on. How did you get in that guild? And then you can go, Mel.
So I mean, I was one of those people that just like I got to level 60, and it was sort of just like, it was 40-man raids, and I was a hunter, and I think originally when I was level 60, I was a hunter, and they said they straight up you just needed a hunter to just to be able to trank shot Magmadar.
Trank,
I
yeah.
remember. Yeah, so it was literally just like, God, I'm trying to even remember the server. Sorry, it was Gorefiend. Gorefiend, yeah. God, this is so long ago. Yeah, I was on Gorefiend. It took me, God, what was it, 9 months to hit level 60.
Dude, it took a lot of people a long time.
Yeah,
Dude,
it
but
took me forever.
How did you get in? Because like anybody doing
You
any
needed a hunter.
serious, but anybody doing any serious stuff, we had like a literal 18 plus like stipulation. So like, did you ever talk in Discord or anything, or did you hide that?
Well, it was Ventrilo, sir. Come on.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It was
Discord
Vent.
back
Sorry.
then.
Yeah.
I'm just used to saying Discord. Sorry.
Yeah, I never said a word. I would just hop in Ventrilo. I never said a word.
There was a lot of
feel
people
like
that
them,
didn't
like-
talk in
Yeah,
Vent.
there was a ton. Yeah, it was like
And if someone
usually there was
asked
like
my-
5 people that talked out of 40.
And if someone asked my age, I would just like try to just skirt around the question, and I
Redirect.
I would just try to redirect basically.
You'd like to know my age, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Should
How
have
old
been
do you
like,
think
I'm
I
a
am?
woman. I don't just discover my age here.
Yeah. It was sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna ask, okay, so 10 years old, what was your rating schedule? Because I was 19 and my rating schedule was like 4 hours a night.
So we raided 3 nights a week for like, God, I think it was like 3 to 4 hours, and sometimes and it was at night. I would have to sneak. I would like my mom would try to put me to bed, and I would have to sneak onto the computer sometimes
My God. You're like, all right, guys, 15 minutes, be right back.
I'd be
And
like,
you'd
oh,
go
God.
get put to bed, and
Yeah.
like wait for mom to go to her room and like come back
Yep.
out and get back on the computer and be like, all right, I'm back.
Yep, pretty much. Because my parents did not understand these games at all. It's like, why can't you just pause it? And I'm like, Mom, I can't pause the game.
There's real people here, Bob.
Yeah, I had to have that. I tried to have that conversation.
I mean, I still have friends that don't understand that, right? Like my friends from, like my one friend from grade school. She's like, what do you mean you can't pause?
I love how Mel said our raid schedule was 4 hours a night. It was 5 to 8 hours a night, 5 days a week. But we were also like server first at time and server second at time. Like we were literally the ones pioneering what the strategies would be to be used. So like, yeah. So like, I love how she's like, it was 4 hours a night. No.
Listen, I just know it was a long time.
My guild was always a tier behind. So like when like the best guilds on our server were clearing BWL, you know, we were still clearing through MC. When AQ came out, when AQ came out, we had just killed Veilstraws in Blackwing Lair.
Nice.
Wow.
So
that's what I'm talking about. That's the real gamers, man. That's the people who are like, oh, what the hell is going on?
I still remember kiting the ads on Razorgore. I think I was 11 by then, and just tried to figure out like the crazy kite strat that we had with kiting the ads on Razorgore.
Wait, that was kiting the ads on. That was in
the
BWL, right? Where you would jump off the pillar and you would like a hunter would basically kite the ads the entire time you're taking out the boss. That was something that didn't come back in Classic. Like
no, because because back then we didn't have the DPS to kill all the ads.
Yeah,
right?
Dude,
we didn't know how to play the game.
Dude, it was crazy. Like the hunters were the most important piece of that fight, and I remember thinking we were gonna have to do that, and then going in and be like, oh.
No,
we don't have to do that.
DPS. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. No, I mean, I feel like it was a completely different game for so many reasons, and just because you were a tier behind doesn't mean that you were like able to watch everybody else do it on Twitch or YouTube. Right?
No.
It's not like you were like gathering all this information and then could complete it. It was just like you just had to figure it out. There was very minimal information online about like how to complete fights. Like
the best we had was our raid leader would go onto the WoW forums and try to parse through the forums of like people that said something about the fight.
Been there, done that.
Yeah,
I didn't realize that purples had different values. Like there were better purples than purples. I thought purple was like, oh, you got a purple item. It's the best item in the game.
Yep, same.
Yeah.
I was like, this guy's got wearing purple gear.
I was like, I got all purples. I'm big, right?
That's orange. That guy, that's crazy.
But I sadly I never got the bow. I never got the hunter bow. I was never good enough for 10-year-old me to kite the mobs by myself for the bow.
On your trackpad.
Yeah. Well, I was also
no. He had the ball. He had the ball.
God,
track ball. Remember those?
Yeah, the trackball. Yeah, the trackball mouse. Yep, I remember.
Yeah, my grandfather, my arthritic grandfather had one.
And let's not forget. I was rating at 5 FPS back then. Sometimes I had to look at the floor just so my frame rate was okay enough to raid.
Oh wow.
That's how bad our family PC was.
Oh my god.
Well, you had to run Ventrilo and the game, okay?
Yeah, I
So
run and the game, and there's 40 people, all these animations going on, and I'm just like, oh god, all right, tilt the camera down. All right, oh, we got 20 FPS. All right, we can live with this.
We got this. We got this, guys.
Yeah. That was vanilla gaming back then.
yeah.
Dude, it really was. And the 4:3 monitors, like you had much less area to put your add-ons and everything. So that's a question. Did you use a bunch of add-ons? Because I love all these like retail people. When Classic was coming out, they were like, they didn't have add-ons back in the day. I was like, dude, we had add-ons 2 weeks in, motherfucker.
So I was actually I did start to use add-ons. It took me about 8 months into the game to ever use any add-ons.
I mean, he was 10, so we'll give him that, right?
But his brother was 13. He should have been
His
training
brother
him.
quit though.
Yeah, my brother quit 2 months into the game.
Yeah.
So.
Mine did too. I took over as Rogue. It's actually why I ever played Rogue, was because of him.
Oh, I deleted his character to spite him. I was a spiteful 10-year-old.
Oh.
Yeah, we had just come from Dark Age of Camelot, and my brother thought it was going to be a PvP orientated game, and it wasn't, and so he quit at level 35. So I got his level 35 Rogue, and I was like, I'll try Rogue.
My brother got to level 20.
20. Ooh.
So yeah, 20 in 2 months. He was like, oh my god.
My brother's cooler.
Yeah.
My brother was the same. No, he was 15. I think he was 15, maybe 16 when that came out. All right, so did you play Horde or Alliance?
Horde. Oh, Ford the fucking Horde, baby. Troll Hunter.
I played Alliance back like at the start. I played Horde TBC through quitting, but
I've never played Alliance ever.
What?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah. I've never played Alliance.
I did it on
I've only
Sam.
played Horde.
I did it on Sam for the hardcore paladin.
And I will never play Alliance. I bleed red for the Horde, baby.
We all bleed red,
Zug, zug.
but
Yeah, zug baby.
I feel like the only reason Bob got to go Horde is because they came out with Blood Elves. And that's the only reason I would switch.
You can take Blood Elves. Take it back.
Listen,
Yeah, I was
there's no way I was going to be a torrent, like 20, right? Like, no.
I mean, Blood Elves were the worst thing that happened to the Horde, so you can have them.
Yeah.
all right. So how did you because you were on Countdown to Classic a lot, and I want to capitalize on that. Like, just, anybody who doesn't check out Countdown to Classic, you should definitely check it out. Tell Josh to be a little bit more positive, but you should definitely check it out because it's awesome. How did you end up being on that podcast so often?
So I was a day one listener. I was day one the day he created the Discord, and he would reach out to people, be like, I'm recording episode. I need guests. Like, this is when the show was just starting out, like to 2017. He would beg for guests, and like every time's like, hey, I'm just like a random I'm just a random like know-it-all WoW player. I'll talk about WoW, and be like, okay, and I just kept raising my head, and he just kept bringing me back. That was literally it. I was just like, I was just first one in, sort of thing.
Well, if you enjoy Balls of Steel, you should definitely check out Countdown because he's on quite a bit. He actually did an episode of Countdown to Classic prior to coming on tonight. So he's been on a 6-hour podcast journey tonight.
Yeah. I think I've been on Countdown to Classic probably like, I think it's somewhere in like 40-ish times.
Wow.
You've got me beat. I have 2.
Yeah.
And one of them I didn't even know I was being recorded. I just thought we were just hanging out with the boys.
I'm a bit of a countdown to classic hipsters. Day one.
Hell yeah.
Nice. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
Josh does good work over there.
Absolutely, everyone, go check out Countdown to Classic. Josh Corbett. He is. This is Bob. You're a great host or anything, but Josh is the best podcast host in the classic community.
Josh has taught me a lot. Like, I've learned a lot from Josh, and yeah, he's definitely. I love him.
I mean, he's a lawyer. Come on.
Yeah, so I was going to say his lawyer skills do a lot of favors for him.
I will actually say that, like, sometimes I don't like his leading the witness type of questions. Like, just because I love Josh doesn't mean that I agree with Josh in everything.
Objection, hearsay, please.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I've gotten onto the podcast sometimes because I disagree with Josh, and then I'll come on and just like have these discussions with him. I'll be like, no, you're an idiot. Get me on the pod.
Do you find yourself being like, wait, I don't agree with you. How am I agreeing with you right now? Like, this is not what I meant to come on here for.
But he's just got that beautiful voice, and he speaks so well, and
he does.
Here, hold on, I'm getting a little hot.
Oh my gosh. Okay, next question.
Mel, get the fan.
Ah, gosh.
No, I'm
starting to get jealous here. Like,
I think that's it. Unless you want to have anything else you want to add.
I mean, by the time I was 13 in Wrath, I was in a server first guild for every raid up until ICC and on Worm Rest Accord.
Damn,
that's awesome.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay, so I have a question. So you played private servers, right? After
that's a lot.
that?
I've played about probably 30 private servers.
Okay, so when they announced that Classic was coming back, were you excited or were you hesitant, or like what were your feelings?
Oh, they actually, funny story. They announced Classic on my on my birthday. Like,
nice.
21st birthday? Is that what you were going to say?
No, not my 21st.
I was there at BlizzCon when they did it.
It would have been my 22nd birthday. 22nd birthday.
You're so young.
Okay, so what were your feelings?
Oh, I literally actually I told my guild this story, and they still like make fun of me about it to this day. I literally like screamed, jumped for joy, and did a little lap around my house.
Wow,
I was like, let's go.
Dude,
oh my god!
I was at BlizzCon with a whole bunch of Overwatch creators because I was an Overwatch podcaster at that point. I was like, dude, I'm gonna play that, and like they were all like, if they played Warcraft at all, there was retail. They're like, I don't want to go back to that. I was like, I'm going back to that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll probably just get to level 40, just like, nostalgia. Like, I've played a bunch of old games, like,
yep.
And then, it turned out, oh shit, I started a podcast. It's one of the biggest gaming podcasts on iTunes and Spotify. It's like, had no idea this was going to take me this far. Like, had no idea that I was going to be so into it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I was like, I had played countless vanilla private servers before then. I mean, I played more vanilla on private servers than I did back in original vanilla. After that point, I'd probably done the grind 12 times.
Wow. And you were still like excited for it to come back?
Absolutely. Oh, 100%. Yeah, I was so hyped.
Yeah, because now it's real. Like, private servers
holy shit,
aren't quote unquote real. You know what? Like,
yeah. Okay, so what is if you had to pick classic, like vanilla, TPC, or Wrath, what's your favorite?
So probably my fondest memories, and when I was like the most cutting edge, when I really unlocked my skills with this game, would be Wrath. I have so many, just getting all those server firsts, playing just like maining. I was for like half of Wrath. I was the most geared Death Knight on my server.
Yeah, that'll do it.
That's awesome.
D-
It was
DKs are not cool anymore, though. They're annoying now.
this is and this is back when Blood was the DPS spec.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so cool to see the differences now with the not being able to tank in any spec, and DPS is better in this spec versus that. It's so strange to the world we live in that this is not original Wrath, it's classic Wrath.
Although
It's crazy, man.
I'm a little upset though about like unholy DPS, because Sarth put out a video of him on my Exna. He got web wrapped. Had to have his own ghoul come get him out of the web wrap, but still was number 1 DPS in his kill of my Exna. Like,
Yeah.
that's how strong
like, yeah.
their little pet is.
Yeah,
With
It did more damage
snapshotting.
than
Gargoyle,
Absolutely,
Gargoyle snapshotting off all those.
It's
buffs
so
and
gross.
machine
It's
gun-
so gross.
machine gun.
It's so
Machine
gross.
gun.
Oh,
I've just noticed it in 2s because we've been playing so many 2s. Every time Gargoyle's up, I'm like, okay, we're just gonna play defensive for about a minute. I'm fearing it, but they like, you can fear it. I can scare. I can turn evil on it, but their paladin.
Wait,
can use
Paladin
defense
has
to turn evil.
fear?
Yeah, turn evil on undead, so they can
yeah.
turn evil
So
on undead.
And Bob,
only undead.
you can thank the private server meta found out that one about Unholy, because that was not a thing back in original Wrath. No one was like snapshotting gargoyles with all these buffs. Because so
There was one guy.
Well, some
one
people
guy,
were.
One guy that nobody heard about until it was
Sure.
over.
But no one would take him to raid. He'd be like, "No, I can snapshot a gargoyle," and they're like, "Get out of here! It's blood. Blood's the only way to play."
The
He's like,
really
"No, you're
good
not."
unholies were doing double the damage of anybody else in the raid.
Yep.
Like at the very start of the patch, we actually had my best friend at the time's brother came in and was actually doing that. I remember being like, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I'm like second DPS of this 10-man, and he's doing double my DPS. I don't understand what I'm doing. Like, it was just broken.
You're not an unholy DK.
I mean,
That's what you're doing wrong.
DKs were just so fucking broken when Wrath
Yeah.
first came out. It was
100%.
unbelievable. I still remember the rotation. I literally did this rotation for the entire expansion. I will never forget it. 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5. Literally did that for almost 2 years. Just playing my DK.
Oh my
It is
god.
etched into my brain.
Oh wow. Okay, well that's all I have. Sorry, Bob.
I can't hear Bob.
Yeah, I can't hear Bob.
I can't
either.
hear either.
Oh,
okay,
sorry.
I thought my headphones were dead. I was like, oh,
Yeah, I was.
hold on.
I was
I
saying,
could
yep.
hear him in the other room, so I was like, I know he's talking. Okay, hold on.
Yeah, we always try to do 2 hours and always end up at 3. So, yep, here we are. Here we
Yeah,
are.
that one long tangent about Cataclysm just like derailed us from the 2-hour mark.
Yeah.
Keep going. We can keep going.
Yeah.
Nope.
I mean, I feel like when we were an hour and a half in and we had just started talking about our weeks and WoW, I felt like, oh, okay, yep,
It's a podcast,
fine.
man.
No,
That
we
cataclysm-
were an
that
hour and a half
cataclysm
in and started
discussion.
talking about the news. We were talking about our weeks in
I
Wrath.
said when we were an hour and a half in and we were still talking about our
Oh,
weeks.
gotcha.
I was like,
Yeah.
oh god.
Yeah, I mean, that's
Hey, we had a good time.
Yeah,
We all had
did.
fun.
Yeah,
We did.
This has been great.
All right, we're going to end out the podcast, guys. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at WC Reloaded. You can follow the Mash Those Buttons Network at the Mash Network. We want your WoW stories. We enjoy the emails. Send those to wcrpodcast@gmail.com. We want your voicemails. You can send us an audio file to the email I just talked about, or you can call in to 816-866-1066 and leave your mark on Warcraft Reloaded. Do it. If you'd like to join our Discord and interact with the hosts of this show or any show on the Mash Those Buttons network, you can do so by going to mash.gg/discord. How can you help the podcast? You can help the podcast. The biggest way is to tell your friends about the podcast. Tell your BGs about the podcast. Tell your pug raids about the podcast.
Oh my God.
Just tell everybody. Go into Walmart and be like, Warcraft Reloaded for life, baby. And they will Google it. They will Google it, and like maybe we'll get another player in Classic, you know? So just tell people about it, your guild Discords, everything else. If you want to go above and beyond, you can leave us a review on iTunes. You can leave us a star on Spotify. You can, you can go to Rested XP Guides and use code RELOADED to get 5% off. You can, what else can they do to like try to think? I just lost my train of thought. Oh, you can go to our Patreon. Link will be in the description and you can subscribe as a Patreon. We are starting to do ads in the actual iTunes and Spotify feeds. If you want an ad-free version of the show, you can go to Patreon and you can get that there. What am I forgetting, Mel?
What'd you say, Mike?
I said I might have to go do that. I've been, get those ad-free listens.
Yeah, I don't know when. I think it'll be a couple weeks before it's fully implemented, right, Bob?
Yep, we're not sure. We just moved to a new host, kind of like Josh did on Countdown to Classic, where it puts in local commercials. So yeah, that's the best ways to support us. Mel, where can you find you? Where can we find you?
I mean, I can find myself very easily, so that's fine.
yeah. But that's why I said. That's why I changed it to where can we find you?
I know. You can find me on Twitter at Mel Overwatch, or you can find me in game on Mel Arena. I'm not very good at Twitter, so try not to do that.
Or you can find her on my stream, bitching at me and
100%
telling me how to play the game.
Well, no, not telling him how to play the game, just telling him how to not tell me how to play the game. Yep.
Oh.
Sounds. I hear that.
Reversed. All right, Bawlsosteel. Mike, where can we find you?
So you can find me on Skyfury. It's the same undead mage, same name as shown on the stream. If you play on Skyfury and you're a fan of Warcraft Reloaded or Countdown to Classic, you want to shoot me a message, I'd love that. And you could also find me on the Countdown to Classic podcast Discord. I'm always in there just talking with people. So if you ever want to, try to just interact with me, that's where I usually interact with people on social media. I use Discord all the time.
Yeah, and the Countdown Discord is really good for just discussion across all types of classes, and it's much more friendly than a fight club or a warlock Discord or any of the class Discords. Like, it's a much more friendly, way to find out the best ways to play. So definitely check out Countdown to Classics. We'll put a link in the description for that too. So definitely check out Josh Countdown to Classic and tell him to be more positive because we love him.
Stop it.
Jhaman, where can we find you, brother?
Sure. I'm streaming every day. I stream every weekday from what time is it? At 10 p.m. at night Eastern time to 1:30 in the morning. I do a stream on Twitch at twitch.tv/Jhaman, which is just Shaman with a J. On Twitter, Jhaman the Shaman on Twitter, on YouTube, Jhaman the Shaman. And then, yeah, that's basically all my stuff. If you're on Grobulous, please come check us out, our guild. We need more raiders. We've got a couple people that are. I've got a guild roster that's like, the perfect. If this could be the perfect people to get, we're still recruiting. It's ICU is our guild name on Grobulous. So just come check us out on Horde side, and we raid every Friday and Saturday from same times. It's 10 p.m. to 1 in the morning. Eastern Standard Time, or 7 server.
Are you going to start your podcast back up anytime soon?
I did one with No Hit Jerome the other day. It was like a week ago or 2 weeks.
My man.
And unfortunately, the audio got corrupted, and the only audio that got saved was my audio. And so,
no!
I was really upset because when I went back to do the recording and the VOD and everything, all the audio was gone except for me talking, and it's just me talking to them. And
you're like, I'm just talking to myself.
I was like, I'll do the podcast again, because the podcast was great. I love doing my podcast. And then when that messed up, it was like just this giant, like someone, I don't know, shoved a tire iron in my engine. And I was like,
dude, it's what I fear every time I do this podcast. Like, and luckily I've been able to like work something together when stuff messes up, but
yeah, I had no backup. I was like, I don't need a backup. The VOD's gonna have it. So if I don't, and then the VOD didn't have it either, and I was like, what did I mess up on the audio?
Dude, I've had to actually like start recording like a bunch of backups because I had a tank episode. It was actually our biggest one on YouTube. It has like 16K views, which for a 5-hour podcast is like pretty good. And yeah, there's parts that are just like the Twitch VOD just lost audio. And I was just like,
one episode of a podcast that we did before, like earlier on when I was podcasting in Overwatch, and it was like 3 of us, the audio was fine, but one person, like their audio didn't record. So I had to go in and edit, just basically like edit them out. Like they had not been in the podcast. And it was fine because there was like 4 of us, right? But if there had just been 2 of us, it would have just been like, no, okay, we can't do this.
Yeah, I was so mad. It was good. We did trivia and everything. It was so fun, and then it just got removed. But it's all good. I'll try it again. I'll take out the old podcast and get her, rev her up, put some oil in her, get her out there again, see how she runs.
And what's that pod called?
It was Jhaman Cast. Yeah, I haven't posted an episode in like 2 years now, but because I did it back when Classic was first starting, but I haven't done it since TBC. And but yeah, it's always fun to put them together.
All right, cool. And you can find me on Twitter at Blazin_Bob. That's BLAZZIN_BOB. You can find me on Twitch streaming regularly, twitch.tv/BlazinBob. This is also where we do the show. So we're going to get out of here, guys. It's been another banger.
Yeah. I had an absolutely wonderful time.
Thank you for
Thanks
coming.
for coming, guys.
Yeah. Thanks for finally getting me on.
We've got tinies of travelers in the chat, guys. He's RP walked himself to 74.
He's RP walked into our chat here too. All right, guys.
Yeah, it just took him a while to get there.
Yeah, he made it at the end, but he had to walk. So,
all right, we're getting out of here. Goodbye and good night. We'll see you next week.
Good night, Twitch chat.
Thank you very much for checking out Warcraft Reloaded podcast. Make sure to like and subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss any future content.